and welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, your weekly gaming podcast, episode 168, Middle-Aged Gamer, the interview. With me, George, and as always this week, joined by RGT and our special guest, Middle-Aged Gamer, streamer, YouTuber, gaming event organizer, and absolute stud. They're middle-aged gamers to my, can I have a soup now, please? Gentlemen, how is it going? First of all, Mags, if I may call you that, probably Sir Middle-Aged Gamer is probably the appropriate response. How are you?
I'm good. I mean, normally I just go, oi, you, in the purple T-shirt. That's my normal response at most gaming events. Or my biggest one is, you're a lot smaller in real life, aren't you? You look a lot bigger on camera. That's the one I get a lot. Like, I get a lot. So
I get the reverse.
I do. You're a lot bigger.
Yeah, you're a lot bigger than I imagined.
Yeah.
But,
I did have at OLL, I had a couple of times, I didn't think you looked like that. And I thought, I did say very positive. You could have gone, I didn't think you looked like that. I was like, I didn't think you looked like that.
It's a weird one, isn't it? How people perceive. But yeah, I get the thing that I am really short, and everyone's like, oh, you must be really tall because we see you on camera and stuff, and then they meet me and they're like towering above me and like.
Do you think people confuse your grand internet status and presumption that for your height?
My first question back to that is, what grand internet status?
Well, I mean, I personally think you got one. If my grand internet status was to be assumed for my height, I would be a leprechaun. Or maybe something smaller than that, but I don't know what is.
I mean, that's good because, at the end of that career, there's a pot of gold for you, so you're all right.
Oh, wow.
Very good. You'll do for us, son.
Mine's chocolate coins, Mag. So I think, that's something to look forward to. At least I have obesity to await me at the end of this strange train. RGT, how the devil are you?
Very well. Yeah, I haven't been on for a couple of weeks, so
living the showbiz lifestyle. Well, let me tell you, during the obviously I'm the 9th Duke of Farmerton. For the coronation, I got a letter requesting me to go down to London to attend the ceremonials. Strangely, I was positioned somewhere between behind Andrew and Beatrice's teeth. So no one saw me. But the reason why I've not been here is because King Charles decided to reenact the medieval statement of the Privy, Lord Privy. And I've been, let me tell you, I've probably seen more of that than I should do. Had a little slip up though that's got me back on air because it's a 3-year thing. The palace is going through an age of, frugalness, and it was a bit of a sloppy one, and my finger pierced straight through a one ply, and I can't think of the best way to word this. 2 knuckles in. Next thing I knew, I woke up in a ditch. So I don't think my services are required anymore. So I'm back on the show.
Okay, so no more privy attendant for you then.
No, I think I remember waking up as I was going unconscious. I remember someone saying, "No one uses the monarch like a glove puppet. Get out."
Wow.
Yeah, I don't. It smells great.
Yeah. Would you say we're not privy to that information anymore then?
Well, you've got.
Yeah, it's knocking them out of the park here today. Wow.
He's 3 for 3 at the minute. I don't know what to say.
It's a home run here.
I was going to say it tastes like Teen Spirit, but I don't even know. I don't even know if that's appropriate. Okay, so Mags.
Hello.
yeah. Welcome
to episode 168. It's a rough landing, but you've stuck it. That's what I like.
It's good. It's a good start as far as it can only go up or down from here. So we got it's a 50-50 chance. So we're all good.
Knowing my luck, it's going to do both and probably finish in a rather awful climax. If I'm honest with you,
just hang on for the ride. Is all I'd say. Just hang on.
I'll literally grip on as hard as possible.
Look at his feet shuddering. Right. Okay. I've lost my place in the whole show. I don't really know what's going on. I think let's get things back on the track here. It's a train. It goes seamlessly across the line from one side to the next, flawlessly. Gentlemen, I think we've got the frivolity out of the way, and we're going to get to you, Mags, in the middle of the show. The meat in a UCP sandwich. The only what's left really to ask is, gentlemen, what have you been playing? And because he's here with us today, Mags, what have you been playing this last gaming week?
So there was the new PlayStation exclusive that came out with PS Plus on Tuesday, Humanity. Made by the people who did the Tetris Effect. Really, really good. It was sold at me as it's basically Lemmings with humans and a dog. But it seems to be way more than that. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And the whole aesthetic of it is brilliant. So really, really enjoying that. That's been my big thing of this week. And I've dipped back into a game that literally came out with no announcement, and then everyone went, "Oh, this is brilliant!" And then people went, "Oh, I wish Bethesda didn't bring anything else out this year because everything else they brought out this year sucked." Was Hi-Fi Rush?
Oh, okay, yeah.
The rhythm action platformer. I kind of didn't really get round to that when it came out back in Jan or Feb, and absolutely loving it. And it's so bizarre that it's made by the people that did Evil Within and that, and then you play this, and it's so funny and so well done, and you're kind of going, how have they transitioned from those games to this? Not that I'm knocking the Evil Within games, I'm just saying that it's a complete departure from anything that they've done.
We would call that, I wonder if that's what they view it in the studio as, a palate cleanser, so they can get the taste of that previous out their mouth. Yeah, and then move into something again, maybe back in that direction, or go in a completely different direction. Yeah.
To me, I think it seems that sort of studios take the reins off. Normally you're making what they want you to make. It seems that they've gone right. Just make what you want to make. Make something different. Make what you want to make. See what let the artistic talents flow and see what you come out with, and they come out with that banger.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. But then you kind of then have to question what happened with Arcane and Bethesda, because then Redfall came out and it was a steaming turd.
Yeah. Was it?
And I was really expecting high hope. It's really funny. Everything that's come out this year that I was really looking forward to has been very subpar. And the games that I didn't really care for and weren't that excited for are like in my top 5 games of this year. They've really surprised me. So Dead Island 2 was amazingly good for something that you just thought was going to be a dumpster fire after 8 years. And I didn't really care for I wasn't going to really care for the Dead Space remake in January because it didn't need to be remade. It's a perfect game.
Yeah.
Yet somehow it's so much better. And it really surprised me. So it's like you got them, but then anything else that's like, this is going to be amazing, and all the hype, and you play it and you went, oh, this is terrible.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you like video games, podcasts, and reminiscing? I'm actor, video game writer, and total sweetie pie Connor Savage McCabe, and on each episode of Call Me By Your Game, I sit down with a guest for an intimate look at a special game from their past. Did you and your dad beat Spyro the Dragon over the holidays? Or was Halo 4 the one thing that united your roommates during your senior year of college? Stories like these are what Call Me By Your Game is about. From video game content creator Janet Garcia to Hades voice actor Courtney Vinay's, I interview wonderful comedians and game industry friends about these memories. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, and maybe someday you'll call me by your game.
Oh, a man of high taste.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, RGT, regale us with what you've been playing.
A bit more Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
Been playing that. I keep dipping in with sort of half-hour increments. I need to have 6-7 hours in a burst on that. I think that's one of them games you get lost in. Like I did on the first one, but still enjoying it. Interestingly as well, a couple of shows back, Seb was saying that he'd had obviously a lot of performance issues, but he was on performance setting. So I normally go on performance setting, but I went with fidelity setting like you did, George, because you said you hadn't had none. And I haven't had one issue at all. No problems at all. So whether that is to do with the performance setting on that game, I don't know. But yeah, really enjoying that. Bit more Stardew. Been dipping into that because I want to get the Stardew Platinum. So I keep dipping in and out, trying to grind away on there. And also this week, I know I said I wouldn't. if you've probably looked at the Discord, you know, Tears of the Kingdom I have dipped into this week. And I will say I've played about 8 to 10 hours, I think. Absolutely fantastic. That is really... I know I said the other week I wasn't sure. I did say I don't know if it's going to be enough like Breath of the Wild, but also different enough from Breath of the Wild, if that makes sense. It needs to still hold that Breath of the Wild audience, but have something new. And I weren't sure from the trailers it had that. But once the reviews started coming out, I thought, right, I'm going to dip into this. And I have. And, it is great being back in that world. Absolutely fantastic. I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. And I've also treated myself to, first time I've had one, a Switch Pro controller. So I've been
look out.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Is it a Zelda-based one?
No, they were all out of stock, so I had to get the normal one.
But you tried.
Yeah, I did try. Yeah. As soon as the Zelda Tack comes out, I'm Googling it. Tears of the Kingdom accessories. Tears of the Kingdom thumbsticks. Tears of the Kingdom screen protector. Yeah. But no.
Not thumbsticks, those little covers.
Yeah, those little thumb grips, thumb grips, yeah. That always fall off. But yeah, so I must admit, the Pro controller's very good. I'm quite impressed with that. That's I didn't think it'd be as good as it was. That's a shame, really, because you think with your Xbox, your PS5, you get your controllers when you buy the system. Obviously, you've got to buy this separate, but I suppose you get your Joy-Cons with the Switch. So, but anyway, it's by the by. Anyway, yes, I've been playing that. And also, I've been playing, I've just started playing, actually, Postal on the Dreamcast. I picked it up from Wave Game Studios, been playing that. That game is tough. It is good. It is absolutely brutal, that game. That is brutal, that game. But it's just got an aesthetic to it, almost hand-drawn storybook, but something different. Yeah, really enjoying that. So, because I also got I bought one of Retro Fighters Dreamcast controllers. So I've been trying it out with that and another brilliant controller as well. But yeah, that's where I've pretty much been putting my time these last couple of weeks.
I'm going to rebuild you one day out of your controllers. You must have more than I've got brain cells. 5.
Yeah, I have in my game shed. I have little trays. This is going to sound terrible now. I've got little trays all labelled up with all the controllers. See?
I've said it before. I'll say it again. I know you're married, but you need a girlfriend.
Yeah, I've got issues. I know I've got issues. But yeah, that's pretty much me this week. So, what about you, George?
It's been a while, so buckle up. You were wondering when my next simulation game was going to come from. It's called Bomber Crew. It's part of the PS Premium, but actually, do you know what? What a great game! Yeah, it's a little silly, little chilby pixel guys, but you know I always read too deep into games. But actually, do you know what? That game really displays the brutality of bomber air warfare. Max is like, hang on a minute. Have I just stumbled onto history? No, don't worry.
I'm very familiar with this game, so that's why I'm kind of like interested to hear your take on it. So,
okay. Well, the brutality of it was the first thing that shocked me, because obviously the first missions go easy on you, and then things start to get a little bit more difficult before you guys are leveled up and your aircraft is leveled up. It's pretty much low altitude bombing runs where you get absolutely diced and sliced. The interesting part of it comes in doing some of the historic missions that you know that did occur. Like I think we had to bomb the Santa's Air dock gates or protect the ship that went to do that. I had to do the Dam Buster raid. Did some prep for that. The prep for the mission was actually harder than the mission itself. You did the bombing raid, and it was like, oh, we've picked up some enemy. A Spitfire pilot's been down. Just go mark his area, and then everything's fine. And I got absolutely stung by a hornet's nest of fighters, and I died. I was like, oh, right, okay, well, that's that then. When I actually got around to doing the actual Dam Busters raid, simple. But generally the game I find to be quite rewarding. Keeping you guys alive is hard, but and you do form these little bonds. I think I've been through about 5 aircraft. I'm on one now, but the game is called Friday the 13th, so I've done the nose art for it. Look, I'm like, yeah, this is great. And 2 guys on there survived its first mission, and everybody else just got absolutely obliterated. The bomb aimer, who I awarded a distinguished flying cross, and then the pilot who, bizarrely, I guess he wanted the DFC, but I gave him an OBE instead because I thought, don't get it yourself, calm down. And now I've been trying to keep these guys alive. And the game, it can be a bit challenging. I sometimes find tagging the enemy fighters can be a bit hard. It kind of puts 3 dots on the screen, then you've got to scan around to find them. But generally, really quite enjoying it. Mags, let me switch to you. You say you've had some experience with Bomber Crew. What's your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny. It's one of those that kept popping up, and it's been on numerous services. I think it was on a Game Pass, as you say. It's now on the PS one. And it's kind of like it kept passing me by because you look at it and you just look at it, you go, oh, it's a cutesy little plane attacking game, and it's far from it, and it's really surprising. It's one of those that I finally got round to it because a friend of mine who's big into everything, like anything flying related, so it doesn't matter whether it's Flight Simulator or that, he's mad on it. He said, you should really try this because I'd actually think you'd like it. And I did. It's really surprising. And the depth they went into with, they could have just put a game where they go, right, you're attacking this target, you're doing this, you're doing this. But then, as you say, they've taken actual historical elements, and you kind of go, wow, they put a lot of thought into this. A lot more. The front page and the title and description does not do this game justice for what it is.
Not even close to what it is. If you listen and you're slightly into history and you've either got access to this on Games Pass or Premium, or even if the game was $6.99 or less, it's an absolute instant recommend from me. From a time sink alone, the little bonds you form with these guys is quite good as well. And the detail, obviously, when you go in that overview mode and you see the runway and the Nissan huts and it tells you how many missions you've flown, how many enemies you've destroyed. I'm like, yeah, that's great. I do find some of obviously it was initially developed, I should imagine, as a PC game. So some of the button interactions are a bit clunky, like navigating with R1 and L1 to get to your characters. And then you're trying to put a hat on a character and you press circle to go back, and then all of a sudden you catch right bumper, and you're suddenly on a mission again. It's like, no, I didn't actually want any of this. Just calm down and work with me here. But other than that, it did also prompt me to download another game of theirs, Runnerdux Games, called Space Crew. Very similar, but for me, it's not quite got the hook that Bomber Crew's got. But it's exactly the same game, but done in space. The other game that I've been playing is obviously Star Wars Survive. Oh, let's put the parenthesis in here. Yes, I've been playing a lot of MLB. Let's take that off the table. Have I changed my thoughts on this year's soundtrack? Absolutely, yes, a banger. I do this every year. By about this time, past release, it's the best soundtrack I've ever heard. Jedi Survivor. I'm on the last boss. Nothing too challenging. He just keep killing me. But when you fight a boss and you think, I've got it in myself to beat this guy. I just need to play it for another 8 hours solid, and then I shall know exactly what to do to destroy this dude. No problems. For the most part, I've enjoyed the game. I'm not going to beat down on it. It's exactly what I liked about the first game in terms of controls, in terms of the lightsaber. What I would say, though, is this feels less Empire Strikes Back, more Michael Bay Transformers 2. It felt like, oh, crikey, first one was a little bit of a surprise. We didn't expect that. What we're going to do, I don't care what you do, just get a game out by this date. Boom, it's out. Now, the story has not gripped me. Now, unless I finish this boss and it's not the last boss and it transpires there's more to it than this, fair enough. But something tells me this is the last boss. And in that case, the first one was more like Obi-Wan. The first game's story, I felt, could stand toe-to-toe with anything on Disney Channel, Mandalorian, whatever it was great, really tight. You always felt like you're on the back foot. You were being urged from mission to mission. This one, it's like, go take a little holiday on Kobo. Enjoy some fishing. Maybe try out some of the sights. Ever wondered what balloon jumping feels like? It's like, hang on, why is this here? Let's focus on the story, the narrative. Let's push this forward. It's a Star Wars game. That's not to say it's a bad game, but in some ways it feels a little bit more hollow. I'm yet to, next week I'll be like, best game I've ever played, and cry. All of it. But this week currently, no. I'm not saying it's bad. I've enjoyed it, but I do feel a little bit misled by the story. I feel a little bit underwhelmed, but there you go. And I think, really, is that all I've been playing? Yeah, there's been other drivel, hasn't there, no doubt, but, I forget. Moving on. Oh, hang on a minute. I never asked before the show started. RGT.
Mm-hmm.
Have you got a hidden gem you want to dust off?
Certainly have.
Okay. Pass Mags the Ear Defenders.
Okay, thank you.
RGT, yeah. See, the only thing is, we're a low-budget show. We can't afford like a theme tune or anything like that. So when we come up with a segment, Mags, we have to I don't have to, but I choose to. RGT, yeah. Is like the Lone Ranger riding on down to bring hidden gems to me. And obviously you vicariously listening, yes. Okay, right. RGT, what? Are we going to do the guessing game?
You can do if you like. This is
we've made a game within a game. Mags, get ready for this. He's going to drop clues.
Yeah.
When it released, I don't know what the clues, whatever he says, you got to try and work out what game it is. Obviously, it's a well-prepared and well-rehearsed section of the show. Okay.
Not sure about that, but...
You just shattered the illusion now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was never going to fool anybody. Especially our beloved long-term listeners. RGT, as you were, sir.
2002. This is a PS2 exclusive.
Is it 2002? Hold.
And a PS exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 24? No, it's too soon.
It's by EA UK, developers, and published by EA Sports Big. So that should narrow it down a bit. No. I'll give you another clue.
One more.
Arcade racing.
Shocks.
Yes, get in.
Blimey.
Yes, well done.
Didn't know it was you say UK exclusive?
No, it was made by EA UK, but it's a PS2 exclusive.
Right.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's not an Xbox original?
No.
In North America?
No. As far as all the information I could find, it was only PS2.
Well, I'm on board.
Community corrections.
I'm on board.
Corrections.
I'm sure they'll tell us.
Yeah, I think this game's really good. People don't talk about this game, Shots.
No, they don't.
It's like it is very arcade. The music, the commentator, it's like you're playing an arcade machine. But it is like EA's version of Sega Rally. But the difference is you have like 3 shock zones on each track. So if you get within those sections, you'll have a 20-second section of a track. Depending on how you drive and how clean your driving is, you get rated bronze, silver, or gold. If you get 3 golds on a track, you then unlock a night track version of that. But it's really good fun. You've got multiplayer, you can play with your mates. It's got all 24 licensed cars. You've got things from Ford Pumas. They go right through to the Peugeots, the classic rallies. Absolutely fantastic. You've got jungle races. You've got tarmac. You've got snow and ice. Controls are very good.
Looks good as well.
Looks very good. Yeah, looks very good. I was playing a bit of it this week just to refresh myself on it because I haven't played it for a couple of years, and just got right into it again. Absolutely loved it. It's challenging. You've got to, you've got to put time into to progress, and it's hard to get first place, but you get that real sense of achievement when you do. Not only that, you could pick this game up, CIB for £4 to £6.
I was going to ask how much it was going to set us back.
Yeah.
This might be. After Starflight, this might be one of my favourite hidden gems you've brought out.
Yes, it is a cracking game. And whenever people do PS2 drive and game YouTube videos, bits and pieces, everyone misses this. And I don't understand why, because for me, it's one of the best race and arcade racing games on a PS2. And for how cheap you can pick it up, anyone who's played
I actually, when you said it was exclusive, I thought you were going to slap me on the back of the legs and tell me it was. PS2 games are a bit of a slow-moving feast, but let's say I would have put it on a par with something like the Simpsons game, which is $15 to $20. But you're telling me this one is what, $5?
Easy, yeah, easy. You probably even get it cheaper than that. CIB as well. Yeah,
Well,
and I think it is
sealed.
just, and I think that is because it goes under the radar a bit. Now I've done this podcast, that's probably going to shoot up, and everyone's going to accuse me of putting.
I am still convinced. I am still
usually the way.
The only reason you do these hidden gems is to boost the value of the lower performing, the low hanging fruit in your games collection.
Very dare you? Just because I've got 2 copies of it, don't mean that I'm going to sell one.
Oh,
goes up
wow.
in price. Just because I sold Starflight and Wing Arms last week doesn't mean that I'm just pumping my own collection.
Oh, it's peaked. Value's peaked on that. Get it gone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely, if you've got a PS2 and you like arcade racing, grab Shocks, definitely. It's just brilliant.
Max, have you played Shocks? Are you aware of it? Have you seen it on periphery anywhere?
I haven't. I knew of it. It's funny when you just sidestepping a little bit when you mentioned 24, because I love that on PlayStation 2. I'm a massive fan of the show, but it's one of them.
When was the last time you played 24?
I'm gonna say about 10 years ago when I did still have the PlayStation 2, and then there was that transition that I was picking up games cheap that I hadn't got round to playing, and then shifted to Xbox 360 and kind of left PlayStation until I got the PS5 recently. So
it's time to dust it off. I think a streaming episode dedicated to 24. I mean, you could even do. I don't want to write any. I don't want to tell you what to do, but beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, start of each episode, play an hour each time.
Yeah,
yeah. Some of the levels were only about 15 minutes, so it didn't work, did it? It was quite funny how it was 24, but the game wasn't actually 24 hours long unless you sucked at it.
Let me tell you.
But
with the modern, if you've experienced modern day controls, you'll be able to make an hour episode out of each session of 24.
Yeah.
Mate.
It's going to be a bit brutal going back now after 10 years, I think.
But
I think I played it on an episode probably about 3 years ago now.
Oh, really?
I think I talked about it, yeah. And it still looks great. In a way, it still plays okay, but my goodness gracious me, it's very much a game of that era. Yeah, for sure. It's brutally difficult at times. Resets you to the start. It's just...
Yeah.
It takes no prisoners.
And it was funny because when I got round to playing it, I know we've completely derailed Shocks here and gone on about 24.
That's fine. That's what the show is.
It's funny how I had got into that thing of 100% in games to get achievements and that. And I basically managed to complete every level of 24 with 100% thing and got nothing for it and felt really duped. Because I forgot that wasn't a thing when that.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. To be honest, a game without a trophy or an achievement in it nowadays, and I probably speak for maybe Tears of the Kingdom. It's not affecting anyone's playthrough of that. But when you go back and play an older game and you think, "Yeah, I've done something really great," and then you expect the little blink, and you don't get it.
That's like me going back to Stardew. I've gone back to Stardew because I'd originally started on PS4. Then I'd done my really big playthrough on Switch. And then when I looked at the trophy list on the PS5, I was thinking, well, I've done all these on Switch and not got nothing for it. So I've now started again, and having the trophies gets you back into that game. It gives you a reason to play again, just to ping those trophies off. So yeah, I think that's going back to the older games and 100% and for absolutely no reason is quite a hard thing to do nowadays.
Yeah. It was a badge of honor in the playground, basically, 100% in the game. It didn't really get you much more than that. And you probably get someone come around your house, like, I don't believe it. Sit down, upload it, your memory card, boo. Yeah, but have you found the golden widget wadget? Like, oh, what's that? Oh, playground mythos. You can't even find it. You're not a good enough gamer for that. Okay, right. So, what a wonderful suggestion in Shocks.
Thank you.
Is there any more you want to say? Obviously, everyone that's listening, they can find that in the Discord under the Hidden Gems section.
Yes. I will admit I'm a bit behind. I'm about 3 games behind, but I will.
I didn't want to bring it. I didn't want to make a thing of it.
Yeah.
But now you've made a thing of it.
Yes, I will.
You're one hidden gem away from getting sacked.
I'll do the little mini reviews, and they will all be up to date this week. And if I'm not, getting community corrections, like RGT, what are you playing at? For God's sake. Get the hidden gems in there. We're all waiting. No one is, are they? What am I on about? No one is.
I am.
No one's waiting for. Well, I know you are.
That's my favourite part of the Discord.
Can I just also add? I forgot to add this in because I know I'm banned from speaking about FIFA with what I was playing. I had a bit.
Whatever you say, I need to pay back equidistant in MLB talks. Just be
all
careful.
I will say is, me and a mate play every year. We play FIFA. We do one night a week. We play a career mode. We pick a team from League Two. We go up. Right. Blah blah blah. We're about 100 hours in this career mode. We're with AFC Wimbledon. We're now gone into the championship. We done all what they wanted. We hit all the criticals. We ticked every box, every low priority, every priority. And I don't know if it's a glitch or not. We're rated at 30 out of 100, and they've just sacked us. So we've lost the whole. So yeah, I'm not happy with FIFA. If you do listen to this EA, which you don't, I'm not very happy about that because about 100 hours into a team, we built an amazing team. We got sacked for no reason. And even though they kept saying we hadn't hit none of the priorities, we'd hit every priority. We ticked every one, every critical priority, we're done. And it still sacked us. And wow. I don't know why. Yeah. So I'm a bit gutted with FIFA at the moment.
Maybe it was the fracas at the Wimbledon Christmas party that cost you the digital Christmas party that cost you your digital job.
The digital Christmas party. Yeah, probably. Oh dear, yeah. So I thought I'd add that in because that is a massive disappointment after all those hours.
I mean, for a game that is changing into something else this year, obviously licensing, that really truly shows they just don't care, do they?
I don't.
That's really bad.
Our stats kept going down. We were like the season before, we were like rated at 90, and they all loved us. And we just kept going down. And within the first 3 months of the season, we ticked every priority, even the critical ones. You know, we'd signed all these youth players, we'd brought them through, we'd played them. Everything was ticked off, every single one. And we still kept going down. And they kept coming back saying, "You're under review. You haven't done this. You haven't, and I'm thinking, well, we have done this. I don't know what you're talking about." And then we started a new season, and they said, "We're going to stick by you this season, even though we're not happy with your performance." We hadn't even played a pre-season friendly, and then they come up and said, "Right now, we're sacking you," even though they just said they were sticking with us for a season.
Isn't that just like life anyway with football clubs? Like everything's good. Everything's fine.
To be fair,
we're on target. 5 minutes later, press conference. So we're sacking everyone.
Yeah.
New management, new team.
Yeah.
I actually think that's maybe what they do. Maybe they put a roll of the dice in there that at any point in time you could get sacked for off-pitch shenanigans that you don't even know about.
Probably, yeah. I don't know. That was really
weird. It's the ultimate football simulator.
I think it's probably more of an EA glitch that they're not actually backing up with updates anymore. But,
if I was EA, that's what I'd say. Like, it's realistic, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you got caught at a strip club, 3 a.m., back end of Wimbledon, right, with your lead striker. The fait accompli.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see that email. Maybe I missed it, but I'll have a look.
Yeah. HR just blocked your whole email.
Press, and that was it.
Yeah. So. Didn't even you force Wimbledon's hand. It ended up in a copy of the Bognor Regis
Gazette
Weekend Gazette. Yeah.
Bognor Regis Gazette.
A throw-in to the handout that the council give out through your door.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're just now we had 2 jobs remaining for us to over. It was Colchester United or Blackburn. So we're now gone in Blackburn with no money to spend, and we're trying to sign free transfers all over the place. That's a bit of a fall from grace, to be honest.
Think about how you're trying to salvage your football career.
I am doing that at the moment. But
get on the speaking circuit next, after dinner speaking. 3 course.
Yeah.
5 minutes. How I got sacked from Wimbledon and other stories.
Yeah. I think that's where we're going to go down. They should add that in. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah. After the speaker simulator.
Brilliant.
Got to play.
Mansfield Bingo Hall. RGT talks about his successful sacking from Wimbledon.
Yeah.
No price for the tickets, and you get a free cup of Bovril. We just want to pack the place out.
1,000 gamers score if you manage to do a talk when no one turns up.
Yeah. I think if I'd done an after dinner speech in Mansfield, it probably would be 1,000 gamer score for me, I think, because I don't think many would turn up.
Maybe you've got like a spinning wheel, and every now and then a cleaner brushes by the door, and if you can hold his attention in that tiny little window of just passing the doorway, that's how you get it. He's like, stops. He's like, really?
What are you doing on that stage? We closed 2 hours ago.
I just cleaned that.
I'm on a date tonight.
Sorry, anyway, I diversed a bit there, but yeah.
No, you're all good. That's so FIFA more realistic than ever, basically.
Yeah, annoyingly, yeah.
Okay, right. I don't want to rock the boat here, but I think it might be time for the news. You ready, gentlemen?
Certainly are.
Okay, it's time for the news to scour the very darkest regions of the internet to bring you the latest stories. First up, Spider-Man will show us everything. There's been some criticism. Do you know what? I get into the news, just in the grass, little tripwire, boom. I think it was criticism. I'm not even sure. Obviously, give me PTSD. There's been some criticism of Sony's decision to continue developing cross-generation games up until the release of even God of War Ragnarok last year. While the Japanese giant wouldn't argue that its approach... Hang on a minute. No, it's okay. I had a moment there. I had one of those moments where I thought, while I was writing this script, did I have my head on properly or no? But obviously, if you think that on air, you ain't got long to think about it, have you? To think before you think. But it's okay. We're all good. While the Japanese giant would argue that its approach has allowed more people to enjoy its tentpole titles, especially in the wake of PS5 stock shortages, early adopters believe the strategy has prevented first-party developers from wringing the full potential out of PlayStation's new-gen hardware. Marvel's Spider-Man 2, of course, will be a full-blown PS5 exclusive, and it's being developed by one of PS Studio's very best teams in Insomniac Games. Speaking with Famitsu via Google Translate, I don't know if he was doing that. Bigwig Jim Ryan said the hotly anticipated sequel's been developed with no compromises. This is going to be our first no-compromise game for Sony's current console. In other words, it'll leak every inch of power out of the system, and it won't need to be worrying about running on a decade-old PS4. Ryan stopped short of sharing any specific new information about the sequel, but he did point out he's hearing very positive feedback about it, and he described it as beautiful. It's almost guaranteed we'll get an extended glimpse of what the executive's referring to next week during PS Showcase, where we expect the PS5 title to be one of the flagship games on display. Rumours are the superhero release will launch in September, so we'd expect a date to be officially confirmed imminently. Now, the reason this is here, Spider-Man 2 is exciting enough, amazing, but the main reason why it's here is 3 years in, are we now? Going to see a PS5 game, no compromise? I think we deserve it.
I think something else we deserve is 4K 60, I believe.
Yeah, something that no next-gen games managed to do at all.
Yeah, this amazing hardware that can go to 8K, and you're still choosing between frame rate and fidelity. Come on.
They said it can go to 8K.
These machines can do 4K 60. Let's see it. I mean, I'll even do 120. But then you have to play it like you're playing on a Spectrum if you want 120. But come on, 4K 60, Spider-Man 2. They'll be watching for this, I think. People will be expecting this.
Yeah.
Come on, Tony.
I think this one is good because what they've done is we know very little about this. And generally the rule of thumb with a lot of Sony's big game releases is just like God of War Ragnarok, they told us nothing until about a month before it was coming out. Yeah. So I know this is a little bit more lead time, but it tends to be that when they aren't going, hey, look at this is amazing, it actually turns out all right. And the last two Spider-Man games were amazing.
Oh, phenomenal games, yeah.
Insomniac generally have been a really good developer. Oh my God, what was it called? The game that they did on Xbox, which was great fun to do with the mutant.
Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, that was so much fun. And for transitioning from that to Spider-Man, I've got high hopes for this, and it's one that I'm not actually worried about. I think they'll smash this out the park.
I think so.
Max, you played Spider-Man on the PS5 when it came?
I have, yeah. I played Spider-Man on PS5 and then was a bit late to the party with Miles Morales, but obviously that came out on PC just before Christmas. I've not completed Miles Morales, but I've had a good chunk of it and loved both.
The shortness of Miles Morales we talked about on the show was actually played to its benefit. Spider-Man is a great title, but sometimes in the mid section of it can feel a little bit wallowy. Starts great, has a little wallowy middle, and then finishes strong. Miles Morales obviously was able to compress all that down into what is somewhere between an 8 and maybe 12-hour experience, and probably more fun for it. But obviously, for a full retail, for a full retail game, you kind of need to. You can't, as a developer, you kind of feel obliged to give someone at least 60 hours of return on a game.
But I don't know whether you do. I think this is the problem. And this is the problem why a lot of games are suffering at the moment is, and to mention another studio, Ubisoft, who are just drowning at the moment because nearly all their titles are getting delayed. And I'm really, being a massive Assassin's Creed fan, I've just got to a point where I gave up on that franchise a while back because to do 60 or 80 hours on that, and then every game that comes out, the Far Cry series, or you've got whatever else is out, Watch Dogs, and it's the same thing of here's a map, here's all the icons, and you've got to clear that map of that, and you just no. I'm fed up of this, and it's not.
I recently tried Watch Dogs Legion, and I'm sorry, that game is so poor. That game is there's hardly any backstory. It's just something which has gone for quantity over quality. You're just putting this is what's happened, go. And you're just like, okay. And you drive to places, you do that with a drone. You drive there, you do that with a car. And you're just thinking, this is not an open world game. And, go back into Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
They are, especially Breath of the Wild, is that's how you make an open world game. That is absolutely perfect as an open world game. And you go back to Ubisoft, and it just seems to be more games that take 100 hours to clear the map and release as many of them as we can.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I think my thing is Spider-Man is that same very kind of concept that it is, here's a map and let's fill it full of icons and do it. But the difference was it was a joy to do it.
Exactly, yeah.
Every little thing that they did was great fun. And I think going back to what George was saying, I don't think every single game has to have that 12-hour, 15-hour, 20-hour. There's been plenty of games that come out recently that are little fun. I mean, look at Stray. Stray was like a 4 or 5 hour game. And it was absolutely.
But it was either free or a reduced RRP. I don't feel like a developer feels comfortable sometimes. Like, they want to give you a small experience, but then they then almost charge for it. And obviously now there's been a lot of emotion about games becoming $70, £70 or whatever it is. And I think they're nervous. So they kind of try and I did feel this in Jedi a little bit. They're just trying to backfill stuff for you to do to try and justify the price a little bit.
Sometimes they bolt them on a bit, don't they? Which looks a bit obvious if it's especially a sequel that they've tried to pad out a bit. It looks a bit suspicious at times. But
I'd rather get a £60 game that is not full of filler and maybe do complete in 8 hours and go, wow.
Yeah.
It's great. Gameplay was great. Story was great.
Yeah.
I love that. And I'll be talking about that for years. Then play a game that you've put 40, 60 hours into, do it, and then you literally forget about because you're just moving on to the next thing that's similar to that. So
we had a chat a few years ago. I was chatting with a guy on our Discord a few years ago, and that was when Last of Us 2 was out. And he said people were completing it in 25 to 30 hours. It took me about 45, but I am quite certain games I like to explore. But he was saying that he can't justify the money for a game that short. And I said, again, it's quality over quantity. I'd rather pay $70 for a game which is absolutely banging for 25 hours than a game that is below average par, like, in my opinion, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is going to take you 120 hours of going to fetch a bloke's dog from down by the water. And a bit glitchy. And but his argument was he'd rather pay for a game that takes him 120 hours than a game that takes him 25.
He'd rather do something that's a chore and a pain for the money because he's got value for playing something that's a chore than actually being fun. Which
each their own. That's people have their own priorities of games, and world games we all have different, which is fine. That's what you get. But for me personally, I'd rather. I mean, Miles Morales to me, people are saying it's too short. It's too short. Not for me. It weren't. It's perfect. They told that story. They told it very well, graphically brilliant, performance-wise brilliant. Loved it, and it was the perfect length. And you could go back, go through, get the platinum, which I think most of us did. And
I think that it's the fact that a game leaves you hanging, leaves you hungry for more, kind of means it hasn't overstayed its welcome. When a game's done and the title's rolling, you're like, Yeah, thank God for that. That's not the feeling you should be looking for. Max, I've been almost lobotomized because you said that you're a fan of what's your favorite Assassin's Creed game? I think this is something that we can't leave on the table.
Okay, so it is a tough one because everyone generally just says it's Black Flag, it's Black Flag. Now, I did enjoy Black Flag, but I think it had its problems in certain bits. For me, it has to be. It's a tough time. It's Assassin's Creed 2 or Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood. I felt that those two were exceptional. I think George is crying. I can't tell if he's happy or just pissed at me.
I want to have a guess. I reckon George's is probably Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Listen.
Oh.
Yeah.
A couple of years, maybe more now, I played the Assassin's Creeds in order. Yeah. And I've played before this. I'd played Assassin's Creed before and finished it and enjoyed it. Started Assassin's Creed 2 and I think I just fell off of it because it was slightly different to the first one, and I kind of liked the things that everyone else hated about the first game. Okay, so I played Assassin's Creed, got into 2, retrospectively realised what a great game that was. In a way, it does remind me of Star Wars Jedi Survivor. They just added more stuff in to try and to boost it up. Then there's Brotherhood, Revelations, and then there's 3. 3 was such a stark difference in that rope-a-dope start. It had me, and I was like, yeah, this is great. And by the time, I don't know what it was, Assassin's Creed Altair filled the screen and was quite a central part of the screen real estate. By the time you got to the one in Istanbul, it felt like he had shrunk down to be about an inch tall on the screen. Whereas 3, he was massive again, and it was high def for the time, and there was mud, and it just, don't get me wrong, the jumping through, there were times where when you were in the wild, that it felt a little bit like Gun on PS2. But other than that, I thought it was great. The 4 that everyone raves about, when I finally got there, I was like, this is very disappointing. The naval combat's not very realistic.
Yeah, and then that's what they've gone and based blooming Skull and Bones on, and I'm just like, why?
If Skull and Bones had come out 6 months after Black Flag, it would have done gangbusters. But 60 years after Black Flag,
and still being pushed back for a year after it was supposed to come out, which is hilarious.
How much further back can a game go before it appears back in time?
I mean, I honestly think that if we get through, they're saying it could come out any time by April next year. I mean, if we get to April next year and they don't actually release it, but we can get a physical copy, I can try and drop kick it and see how far it goes.
I think that's about... He's angry, isn't he? He's vicious, isn't he? Takes a brand newly born game straight from its developer's womb and drop kicks it. That's the sort of man we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Wow. I don't know how all this links back to Spider-Man. Oh, yes.
Open world.
World.
Not open world thing, but going back to the point that I said 4.5 hours ago, because I really dragged this one out. No, I've got very high hopes for this. And as long as they don't put too much filler in it, then we'll be all right. If it's about the same amount as the first Spider-Man, or they do, I think it'd be cool. I mean, I even enjoyed the DLCs, the 3 little parts DLCs.
Do you know what? Great. When that launched on PS4, maybe 2018, maybe it came out. I can't really remember now.
Yeah, 17, 18, something like that.
I played the wheels off it back to back. Yeah. Went straight back and did it through again on Ultimate to get the platinum. Got all the DLCs and finished all of those. Got all the trophies from those. Just thoroughly couldn't get enough of it. And this time around, when it relaunched as part of the Miles Morales edition, where it was up-res and everything for the PS5, I've played through all of it again, and then now I'm 3/4 of the way through doing it again. So we say it's full of filler, but I've seemingly lapped up this alphabetic spaghetti like it's my only source of nutrition.
But it's good filler. That's the thing. You feel like you're accomplishing something. It's when you get those games, as we said, and this is the curse of Ubisoft at the moment, is they're sticking, as you say, getting a game where you go, right, you're going to go fetch quest a dog, which is going to take you 20 minutes. At least with the Spider-Man stuff, it's right, there are all these side missions, but they're only like, some of them are 2, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and quick zip zap. And especially when you got the things like, oh, you were chucked in an arena for combat, and it might be a really tough scenario. So you're like, well, I want to beat this because this is actually challenging. It's not like go here, do that, come back. Oh yeah, go do here, do that, and come back. So yeah, but no, really looking forward to it. I should have just said that at the start, and we could have cut 20 minutes.
No, podcast is all about the conversation. We could just bullet point stats and then pop out of the other end.
What's your thoughts on Spider-Man 2? Looking forward to it.
Yeah, could be good.
Most boring interview guest you've ever had by just.
Don't you dare!
No,
don't you dare! RGT, this next bit of news. Are you reading this?
I've got a few technical difficulties at the moment.
It looks like he's having a boxing match.
I don't know what is he doing. What's this technical issue you've got? Because I can see you and I can hear you.
Yeah, I am here.
Did the dog run in and steal shocks?
Yeah. Stingrays raided me.
Oh wow. Okay. I can't remember whether the conversation about the contents of the shed was off air or on it. Let's pretend it was off air because I think that's an area we can't go.
Even I can't remember that now.
Okay, well, I'll read this next bit of news while RGT does some DIY. This is PC. Sony has seen relatively steady success, slowly adapting some of its major first-party franchises to PC, and its process it will continue to engage in. However, in an interview with Japanese magazine Famitsu, place for all the good news, boss Jim Ryan said the PS5 remains a priority and the majority of its titles will launch later on PC. He even admitted that 2 to 3 years may be the sweet spot. That's largely consistent with how PlayStation's been handling things, although we've seen some titles come quicker, Last of Us Part 1 being a decent example, albeit in a unique one given it released originally as a PS3 game. PS Studios president Herman Hulst has hinted that some of Sony's live service games may launch day and date on PC. That should be good for the player base. So Ryan's probably referring to the tentpole single-player titles here. It's clear that Sony wants its intellectual property to become better recognised, and we're beginning to see the fruits of its strategy with its television and movie adaptations. It's also in the early stages of establishing a mobile gaming division, God rest our souls. Bringing franchises like God of War and Horizons PC opens up the potential audience, thus enabling them to attract new fans. But the platform holder is walking a tightrope here. The foundation of its business revolves around flogging consoles, and high-profile exclusives is one of the main ways it's been able to convince customers to buy in. Personally, we reckon it's been managing its PC initiative fine, and it's clearly not having any material impact on PS5 sales potential. In fact, the new gen console has been on fire of late, and it's shown no signs of slowing down. Mags, question for you. You mentioned that you played Miles Morales on PC. Is that correct?
Yeah.
As someone who straddles both sides of the fence, like the Colossus of Rhodes, we're going to sail between your legs.
Nice.
Look up. It looks bigger from down here. That's all I'm going to say. Question is, how do you feel as someone who sampled a title on PC? You're an owner of a PS5.
Yeah.
How does that dichotomy work for you? Does it feel dirty playing it on PC? And what would make you choose to play something on PC over your vanilla PS5 that you've got pairing under the TV?
See, it's not. It's fun. There's kind of two answers to this for me, because I have got a Switch and an Xbox Series X as well. And it's mainly because I try and play everything that's new. That's what I concentrate. That's my shtick on Twitch, obviously. Yeah. So for me, I'm not that fussed about what's on this and that. And it was just the fact that when I got my PS5, about a year after it came out, they had the Brilliant Collection, which they've now got rid of.
Yeah.
But they had the Spider-Man remastered on it. And I was like, the one game that made me jealous for the reason that I didn't have a PlayStation and I've had Xboxes for a while was Spider-Man. So when they announced that was coming out, I was like, I am gutted. So I immediately, that was the first thing I played on it, and I'm so happy. When it came to Miles Morales on the PC, I also did it with Returnal, actually, because Returnal came out this year on PC.
Yeah.
And even though I've got it on PlayStation 5, I hadn't got round to playing it. But because it was being released, it made sense to stream it on that. It doesn't really bother me, I'll be honest, because I'm that sort of person that I'll play anything on any console. Now, I see some people that were quite sort of, oh, there are exclusives, they shouldn't be going out to PC. But as you said, you bear in mind, some of these are coming out quite fast. And Miles Morales Returnal came out quite quickly. But then you think about some of the others. I mean, Days Gone was a 2018 thing, and that was one of the first ones that came over to PC. Yet PlayStation kind of disowned that game now because they said, we're not doing a sequel.
I have no idea why. Great game.
A great game. Now, I played that on PlayStation, but it's really bizarre that they've gone that. And then we've seen new ones like we're looking at a 4 to 5 year window with their bigger titles. God of War came to PC last year. So if they're saying you're going to wait 2-3 years, I think it's perfectly fine because people who are PC fans will probably sit and wait. If they've got a PlayStation 5, they'll probably play it on PlayStation 5 anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's good that they're getting the games out there to other markets. But I just think I think the bit you've got to watch out for is when you get something like The Last of Us, which has had 3 iterations on PlayStation, and then it finally makes its way onto PC and it's a dumpster fire. That's where you're going to be like, I see what they were doing. We're trying to tie it in with the release of the TV show.
Yeah.
But maybe they should have just held off and finished making that port because it was shocking. But everything else they ported over, I have to say, even the ones I've not played, but I know people that have played, have been good. It won't affect PlayStation 5's sales because if they're not pushing stuff out for 3-4 years, Horizon Forbidden, is it what?
Zero Dawn is the first one. Forbidden West.
Yeah, now that's only just coming, or has just come to PC, if I've got that correct. So it's not like you're going to get Forbidden West anytime soon. That's just over a year old now. So you what, 2025? I reckon that'll drop.
Yeah.
So,
and I think also, I think if anything, it'll progress PS5 sales. I think because people play, there's a limited amount of games coming to PC. They're playing 1 or 2 of these games on PC and thinking, hang on, these games are really good. I'm going to pick up the PS5, see if I can play more of these. I think, if anything, that's quite a good market tactic, really.
There's enough PC games out there with Steam and Epic and all that lot to people going, and a lot of stuff that you'll never get on console that you can play on PC, which is great. And I think you're right. It's that reverse effect of, shall I wait 3-4 years for this game? Or should I just go and get it on a PS5?
What did it feel like, Mags, if I may, getting back on the PlayStation train after so long being off of it?
It's so weird because, right, so another thing you want to know about me is when I jumped from PlayStation 2 to Xbox 360, I was massively impressed with Xbox. And
agreed, I was the same.
Yeah, I stuck with him through Xbox One. I admit that I never had a PS4, but I know for a fact the PS4 was the better console of that era. And then when the PS5 and Xbox Series X was announced, I was a strong candidate for, I think Xbox Series X is going to whoop PS5's backside. And for a time it was, but now it's not. PS5 is back in its element now. And it's funny that I, just as a joke, as a running gag on my shows, I would actually slate, just for the laugh, PlayStation owners, because I had to put up with so much hate that I was an Xbox only streamer, because that's how I started.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where someone turned around and said, if we sort you out a PS5, will you stop slagging it off? I went, go on then. And I got a PS5. They arranged for me to get a PS5.
Wow.
And which was really cool. And I'm very thankful for the day. And I can't knock it. And I think PlayStation 5 is awesome. I think they've both got their qualities to me. Xbox is lacking exclusives, but Game Pass is phenomenal. I don't think the PS Plus thing is anywhere near as good, but there's some really great games on that. And what they do put out is good, but it's not a patch on Game Pass. But the quality of first...
Let me ask you a question about that, because I've got both. And obviously, I much like you, was on the 360 train and everything like that. When I go on Games Pass, it's exactly the same as PS Premium. If you've been in either ecosystem, there's just an absolute backload of games. I finished multiple times 10 years ago. Why am I here? Why is Games Pass, why is PS Premium amazing?
Right, okay, so let's break this down. So let's go to the Xbox One first. Game Pass, when it first launched, was not great. And just as we said, I've forgotten the name of the game again. The
Hi-Fi Rush.
No, the other one.
Stray?
The energy drink game.
Oh, Sunset Overdrive.
Sunset Overdrive. Yeah, I couldn't remember it. Flipping it. I only played like that for like weeks. Sunset Overdrive was probably the only decent thing on release of Game Pass that was on there. And I was one of the few people that hadn't actually played it. So I was like, this is great for this. As time went by, Game Pass developed and they started dropping a lot of bigger titles, better titles on there. And I've played a ton of stuff that I'd never got round to playing or really wanted to play. And I do feel for a lot of quality indie game stuff, they really do push some good day one release stuff. And even some surprise stuff. Things appear and you go, didn't realise that's coming. Yeah. So, I mean, the next thing is Amnesia the Bunker. So the next thing, the Amnesia, that's coming day one Game Pass. You had the second Plague Tale game was day one Game Pass. So there's a lot of stuff that you go, okay, it's not exclusive, but I ain't got to shell out money for that. And I think generally, in terms of indie and cross-platform titles, they push a lot of stuff, good stuff out. And with the added bonuses of the fact that you get EA Play chucked in with Ultimate, so yes, you get to play the games. And again, I managed to get the play the last Need for Speed. I didn't really want to shell out for that. I wanted to see what it was like, the one that came out before Christmas. And I got to play that for free. And I was like, I quite enjoyed that. That was all right, it tagged on. So there's all these little things that tag on, which make that great. PlayStation come along, realise that they're missing a trick, and go, right, we're going to do ours. Now, the actual, the PlayStation Plus itself, from what it was, I thought a lot of the games they put out on that were great when you just got 2 to 4 games a month. Far better than what Xbox Gold Live, because they've chucked that in the dumpster now. They haven't put decent stuff on that for years.
I think that they've missed a trick there, because there must still be people that just want Xbox Gold. They don't, and that's the thing. They went through that stage of trying to bin gold off and just roll it all into Games Pass.
Yeah,
it's disingenuous. I thought that was a little bit, and they obviously they realised their error and backtracked immediately. But Games with Gold should be still advertised as a basic
package, and it's not.
But it's hidden away. I think, why?
And then the quality of stuff that they're putting out on it is not as good, because you go to like 2013. I remember the 2 games of gold, and both games I really wanted to play, and they were Tomb Raider, the reboot, 2030 reboot. So maybe it was 2014, say, so a year after. Tomb Raider reboot and BioShock Infinite were the 2 games. And I was like, oh my God, that is the best month for me, because I was just about to go buy those games in a sale and I didn't. I was like, that's amazing. And now you just get whatever they chuck at. And sometimes there's a little hidden gem. But I remember with Games of Gold, literally every month I would download and play those games.
Yeah.
And I can now say to you, I might play 1 out of the 24 titles that they put out over the year now, if that, because I'm more on Game Pass. So I think they're going to sweep it under the rug and go. But what PS Plus was doing was getting some really good titles and even some day one titles out, which is great. But then they kind of went, let's go and do, let's basically do what Xbox are doing. And I'm not saying it was a direct copycat, but you got your basic package, you got your extra, you got your premium. Do I think premium's worth it? No, I didn't bother with that. I think having a backlog of older titles and being able to play demos is not worth the money that they're charging. Do I think extra's worth it? Yes. And the reason I say that is, again, that Humanity come out again, day one exclusive, great game. They are dropping even bigger games on day one that have come out. Plus, some of the bigger titles they brought out are really good. And some of the stuff you look at, the collection now, if you're in the position that I'm in, that I've got Game Pass and this, am I finding there's a massive crossover? And the answer is, George, yes. But what I'm finding is, what is interesting is, what is on PS Plus for a certain amount of time, if I don't get round to it and then they take it off, it then appears on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So there was a load of stuff that came off Game Pass, and literally 2 weeks later, here's the PS Plus lineup. And I went, that's everything that's just come off Game Pass. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. They've still on both sides have got titles that you'll never play on either side.
Correct.
But for me, it's the fact that there's some games I was going to go, I really want to play that, because I've got the backlog. Never do. And then I can go, I can play that on PlayStation or Xbox now, because it's now shifted over to the other one. And it's finally, I will get round to playing it. So it's not like, I've missed it now. Because
I think we've kind of summarized it in the past. If, let's say, you were transitioned from Xbox solely, you weren't fortunate enough to have both, and you'd gone from Xbox, you'd rocked up on PlayStation this gen, or maybe you'd been with Xbox for a while, rocked up with PlayStation, got the subscription tier, premium, extra, whichever one you went with. You had a backlog of games that you've heard everybody talking about that you can now get into. You've got an instant collection. And it would be the same for a migrating PlayStation player who decided to go all in on Xbox.
Yeah.
You've never played Gears of War. You've never played Halo. You've never played Forza. So you've got this whole back catalogue that made the platform great, instantly available to you. As someone who supported each one of those consoles along the way, you've gone all in on that. Games Pass to a lifelong Xbox gamer, they're going to get it because they want to support Xbox, which is fair enough. But the majority of the package there is probably stuff they've already touched. And the same for the PS offering. So for me or RGT, I mean, I've sat on both sides of the fences, but say, for me at the moment, PS Premium is kind of wearing down a little bit, but I still look at Games Pass and go, there's still nothing that sexy on there to pull me deep into this ecosystem.
Yeah, I think this year particularly, I think generally Game Pass has been quite strong, but this year it feels like it is dragging a dead horse at the moment, because there's been no real big things that have come out and they've actually been decent, right? Xbox are really heavily relying on Starfield to be their saving grace. From a personal point of view, I'm not that fussed about that title, because I'm not a big fan of the Fallout games. Like, they're all right, they're good. And again, if there's people that love the Fallout games, I'm not dissing them. I know loads of people that love them. It's just not my kind of game or genre. So for Starfield, for me, I'm not that fussed about it. So for me, I've got a year of practically nothing, unless they drop a hidden gem like Hi-Fi Rush or something else that came out. I think Xbox needs to up their game a bit. I think PS Plus it's that switch again. I said to you, Xbox Series X came out. It was the more powerful console. PlayStation were lagging behind a bit with the PS5 and trying to get the releases out. So it was strong. And then they switched, and our PS5 is doing way better. And I think the way with the subscription services this year, they've switched. Game Pass is now lagging behind, and PS5's PS Plus, is doing a lot better. And the titles they're putting out, there's stuff that's still coming out better than Xbox. It's a tough one, and I think it's always going to be that thing like a tennis game. It's gonna. I think with this generation console, especially when COVID hit, it's knackered things up so massively. That there's never going to be, you're always going to get people, PS5 won the console was, Xbox Series X won the console. I don't think it is. I think it's going to be equally batted back and forth over the course of the next couple of years.
mean, a good example of that is when Xbox came out with the Series X and Series S. Series S was such a good buy, such a bargain. That was the console of the generation. Now it's actually a handbrake for Xbox.
Yeah.
And now the games are now having to be, we spoke about this the other week, they're having to be produced with the Series S in mind, which is handbraking the Series X, whereas obviously the PS5 has just got the digital version, which is just about a disk drive, so they can maximise it a bit more. Yeah. So that's that swings and roundabouts. The Series S was brilliant. It's now becoming a bit of a handbrake, so it's dropping off a bit. So weird how this generation's going between, sales and games, and you only need, and how small of error that is now. I mean, you could probably see if Starfield is an absolute banger, you could probably see Xbox sales going up no end.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they're rocketing up in the, it's so weird this gen.
Well, as Max said, it's not a game for him, but bizarrely, the games journalistic industry has put an awful lot of emphasis on Starfield needing to be a 10 out of 10. You know, that's not our narrative, but that's also been universally adopted by almost all gamers. And in a way, you can almost sense it on Microsoft themselves. Like Starfield needs to be a banger. So like Redfall should have been good. And, you know, maybe with some development and patience, let's say No Man's Sky, it's often lauded here. Got my much beloved relationship with that game, but let's just say that they managed to get that patch and get it working and get it to be okay. It's another thing in the quiver. And if Starfield can hit and be anywhere, to me, a banging game really needs to be an 8 or more in a journalistic.
I think you're right as well. I think it needs to be a solid 8 out of 10, but I don't think it needs to be a 10 out of 10. That's not about Starfield. That's about what they release in and around it and carry on releasing after it.
Yeah,
I don't think you can focus it all on one game. They've had Microsoft and Xbox have had a distinct lack of games at the moment. We know that they've had a few issues. Redfall's bombed.
That puts the hyper focus on what they do bring out, though, which is a shame.
And the problem is,
big exclusive of this year, and it's tanked.
Yeah, and I think because the only game that we know about on the horizon is Starfield, it's putting a lot of pressure on Starfield. But I think also we've got to grade them on what else they bring out in and around that area.
Yeah,
you know?
I think this is the thing. Whereas PlayStation, like we're talking about, obviously the new Spider-Man, and we know that there's other things in development and coming out, and we've seen what's potentially in the horizon from now until spring 2024 with PlayStation. So we kind of know where our sights are set, even if those things aren't going to come out when they're supposed to. You kind of got some form of roadmap with PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem with Xbox is, going back a couple of years ago before COVID, we know there's going to be a new Forza Motorsport. There's probably going to be a new Gears, because that's been hinted. And
Fable.
New Fable, but we've heard nothing about that. And State of Decay 3.
Perfect Dark as well.
Right. Yeah, the Perfect Dark. Now, we probably know more about Perfect Dark than the other things, because all those other ones have been mentioned at numerous gaming conferences, but we've heard nothing about them for the last 2-3 years, and we've got no idea when they're supposed to be out, and we haven't even seen any real game footage, apart from maybe say the new Forza Motorsport game. But then you kind of go, so what is there after Starfield, as you're rightly saying? Because you don't know. There is nothing for next year, really. I
still think they're going to do one of their live showcases. I think in and around Starfield release, and I think they're going to drop a few. I think they've kept very quiet. I think they're going to drop a few. They got to.
So with the whole demise of E3 and all the other stuff, obviously Xbox have been quite clever. They've done what basically Nintendo did. Nintendo turned around and went, "Yeah, we're going to be at E3." No, we're not. So it's a bit like your football scenario now, that you're like, "Hey, we're doing really well, but we're going to get dropped."
Yeah.
And Nintendo turned around and went, "Well, we're going to do our own Nintendo Direct when E3 normally is, and we're going to go and do our first ever thing in Seattle, first ever thing we normally keep it in Japan." Xbox turned around and said, "We're doing an Xbox showcase," which they've done the last couple of years during COVID and stuff. So they'll probably bang out a few announcements then. Straight after that, they've got a dedicated Starfield show, which is great for all the people that are interested in that. I'll probably watch that anyway. I will play that game. I'm just going to say, if anyone's thinking I'm hating on it, I'm not. I'll give it its fair shout. I might end up loving it. It's just that kind of genre thing I'm not into. But then they've also announced that then 2 days later, they're going to do another showcase with more in-depth stuff. So I think you're right there that they could but everyone's like hyped for the Starfield thing. But 2 hours before that, they're going to go bang, bang, bang. But if they do what they did last year, they had a massively underwhelming showcase. Where it was like,
I remember that.
We know all this is coming out. We knew that these games were coming out, like Age of Empires 4 is coming to console and all that sort of stuff. And we were like, so where's the new stuff? So it'd be interesting to see what they do. I hope you're right. I hope you're right that they do that, because that'll probably save them.
I hope so.
It seems like the journalistic games industry is probably what keeps some of these things alive and gives them the air that they need to survive. And I don't know why Microsoft or anybody else didn't notice this, but PlayStation adopted during the mid to end life of PlayStation 3, adopted this strategy of pumping a tentpole title once a quarter. And then around that, they hype some AA games that they bring in as an exclusive. Either they've developed themselves or they've bought in and dressed up as a PlayStation exclusive. And that bizarrely gives the industry and the games journalistic industry clicks and content and a constant totem to raise on a monthly basis, which gets them airtime, which makes the journalists happy because they're getting the clicks. And it's the ability to pump these games, even if they're not for you. Let's use Stray as an example. That was a good game, but it wasn't everybody's game.
Yeah.
It certainly caught the eye of gamers and was something that held website content. It held up podcast discussions. It held up all this sort of stuff. But Microsoft don't seem to be able to. There's a couple of times I thought, okay, the machine's starting now. We're going to see an indie. And they do this to a certain extent, but they don't ever seem to get the footfall and the penetration that you'd expect these titles to. So they're putting all these on Games Pass as well, which should be easy money for them, but they don't seem to be able to get that sort of quarterly machine pumped up and working, and I don't quite get why.
It's the only things that seem to build momentum, and it's funny you're coming back to saying about Redfall, if they patch it, blah, blah, blah. I honestly think that ship's already sailed. I'm just going to say that now. I don't think whether they patch it or not, the people aren't going to come back to that because just the game itself is just a poor game. But then you go back to something like you said, No Man's Sky, right? Which I know is not an exclusive, but that's been built up and is an amazing game now. But they did that with Sea of Thieves. I've been a massive Sea of Thieves fan, and a lot of people dumped on that when it came out in 2018, and it was a day one Game Pass thing. Yeah, and I stuck with it and enjoyed it. And then literally 2 months later, Rare turned around and go, now we're going to drop this into it. And now we're going to drop this into it, and it's just built momentum, and it's. I remember going to see. I've seen Joe Neat from Rare speak a number of times, and at the last thing they did when he was speaking in London, they were like, "We've already got like the next 12, 15 months for this game planned out," and it's just getting bigger and bigger. And they did it. This was a massive gaming show in London, and it's got to a point that game 5 years down the line is so big they dedicated a day just to that game.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
But for a good reason. But it's taken 5 years to get to that point. And the problem with Xbox is, yes, they are nurturing their studios and doing stuff with like that. But most of the stuff, as you say, they're trying to push out is stuff that is going to be out. People play it in 2 weeks and it's gone. And they've got no long game strategy here. Which is where you're kind of going, well, what are they doing?
Well, what the frustrating thing is, and I've said this, they've got Sea of Thieves, which could build a monthly player base, loyal, consistent. Yeah. Everyone wants to shout Megalodon at the top of their voice down their mic. Everybody wants to do that, right? But they've also got something in there that has gone so under the radar, which I think is equidistant in its greatness and should be championed on Games Pass. It's made by Obsidian. It's called Grounded. It keeps getting updates. Amazing game. Who's talking about it?
No
only me. And if only I'm talking about your game. It's a poison chalice. I'll tell you now.
It's weird that it kind of that came out. I think they shot themselves in the foot. Came out on Game Preview. Everyone was shouting about it. And then when it finally got its full release, it was just left to just drift in the wind.
It was already done. But to me, that could have done a Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves has quietly built quite a strong player base, especially amongst younger gamers who literally can't get enough of it. I turn my nose up a bit because it's not very realistic sailing and it's not very realistic this and that and the other, which is fine. But even I can scream Megalodon.
Yeah.
When those big storm battles and everything, super exciting and everyone getting involved makes it very cool. Grounded is still really cool, and it's got like building the bases in the pond and doing all that good stuff is a good reason. But I don't know.
I also saw an article I was reading an article the other day, which I found astonishing, and they were saying about Hi-Fi Rush. They were saying there was up to that date there was 2 million downloads of Hi-Fi Rush, and Xbox have classed that as a failure. And
really?
Yes.
But then that's on themselves for basically saying in the middle of January, we're just doing an indie showcase. Oh, here's this game that's coming out. Oh, sorry, did we forget to say it's out now? So nobody knew about it. No advertising except on an indie showcase. And they're saying that. See, to me, 2 million downloads on an indie game. I know it's by Bethesda. Is a failure.
That's crazy, yeah. And they just said, that hasn't been profitable enough. They've had 2 million downloads of a game they've obviously give away technically for free. I know they're getting games by month. Yeah, and they classed 2 million downloads as a failure, and I was just astonished by that because I thought the hype around that game and people were loving that game.
Not just the hype.
If people are loving it, pump it more. Pump it more. Get people on
not just the hype, the goodwill that actually. It was looking a little bit, no disrespect, it was looking a little bit sort of dicey. Then that dropped as a stealth drop, which you can argue probably does or doesn't work. Ask Sega Saturn how well a stealth drop works for the reasons you mentioned, Mags. It never got a chance to be hyped. It never got people's excitement up. It was there. When something drops on Games Pass, I hate to say it, but what's the rush? What's the rush?
There is no urge. There is that thing of there's no urgency. And I think going back to what you said about Grounded came out on Game Preview. So it was like, we want to try this, see what it's like. But they kind of shot themselves in the foot by putting it on Game Preview because then everyone played it for the next year to year and a half.
Yeah.
And then the big release came out and that was it.
Yeah. Well, let's draw a line there. Max, this last bit of news, it's yours if you want it. If not, me or RGT can do a half-assed job of reading it out.
I mean, look, it depends. Do you want me to do it professionally? I can do it half-assed. I don't mind. I'm easy going.
Well, my half-ass was my all-in, so I'm sure you can surpass that. So
I'll give it a whirl.
And the floor is yours, sir.
And I mean, by all means, if I end up doing this really well, please feel to completely edit it out of the podcast whatsoever and just say I didn't do anything.
No,
if you've heard me read the news, you've got nothing to worry about.
we like high quality guests to remind people how sort of bottom feeder we are. It's what we like.
I mean, if that's what you set your bar at, and that's what you're pushing at least you've got a constant message going out. Unlike Microsoft with their games, it's landed. That was it. You've a constant bar there saying you got to remember we're bottom feeding.
We are bottom feeders. Yeah. Well, the PR company tell me everyone loves an underdog, so I play us down at every moment.
I think that's a fair shout. You're doing a good job with that. Then that works. That's going to make you watch in 10 years' time. That's going to make a beautiful story, isn't it? It's like
perfect.
Those guys, they were the underdog and it fell through, and 100 million listeners. And
they'd hate us then, though. They'd hate us then.
Yeah, well, they probably went, they've sold out now.
Sold out. Yeah.
You've got to try and keep it in this mediumly average place for the rest of your life.
All right, let's give this a shot. So this is, if you think one playthrough of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is impressive, series producer Eiji Anomura recently revealed he has already completed the game about 20 times. Wow. In Part 5 of Nintendo's latest Ask the Developer series, Anomura mentioned how there were times when he had to rush ahead and clear the main story from start to finish when testing the game. His advice, though, is to take your time and don't just rush straight to the ending. By the sounds of it, some of his more enjoyable play sessions took place when investigating side paths and making his own discoveries along the way. And if you're wondering how Anomura, I'll get his name wrong each time, but there you go, felt after completing the new entry many times over, he claims it never got boring once. Anomura is in good company with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Director Masahiro Sakurai, confirming he's now also completed the main adventure in Tears of the Kingdom, taking down the final boss earlier today. He even had to deal with his cat at the same time, by the sounds of it. Here's a rough translation from Google. I just finished Zelda, but, pause. While I was being attacked by the final boss, cat was attacking softly under my feet.
Wow.
Well, let me first of all say that your Japanese pronunciation is perfect. You called him Anuma. I think I probably would have called him an enema, which I'm very grateful for you coming on and doing that news.
I mean, I pronounced the name different every time I said it, but I was close-ish. So if I've offended anyone from Nintendo, please forgive me. Thank you.
That's all right. We do that every week, so don't worry.
I was going to say, I often put Yakuza news in, and then when I put it in, I'm like, oh no, why?
Yeah, you're reading this one, George.
All joking aside, absolutely brilliant, Mace. Thank you for that. Tears of the Kingdom, 20 times through, if not more. These guys involved in the very intimate detail of putting this game together and still finding enjoyment in it.
Yeah.
It beggars. I described this game, okay, and I think it's fair to describe it in this way. It's Breath of the Wild, but they've left the developer tools in. That rise up through a mountain didn't appeal to me. The bolting stuff together like nuts and bolts straight Minecraft didn't appeal to me. The jumping off the sky islands looking like Fortnite didn't appeal to me. And then Smash lands on the ground and gets a 10 out of 10. Shows you why I do a podcast about video games, because I know less than nothing. Now, this game is Those That Can game. Those podcast.
Those that can bottom feed and set the bar.
Yeah.
Those that can't. I don't know. I don't even know what I am anymore. I'm lost in my own. Let's just say I'm a bottom feeder. Okay. Right. On the Ace Rimmer of video games.
Split.
Where are we? So this game, it's everything that Nintendo needed it to be and more. And considering the potential that they possibly could have saved development time by utilizing a template and a backdrop that's already there, more kudos to them. It seems that the device creation mechanics is appealing to everybody. I've seen some absolutely awe-inspiring stuff come out of this game. Some of it looked a bit game breaking. I did see someone taking on, I think, the final boss with this sort of orbital weapons platform that just literally obliterated this thing from space. Well, not from space, but from the air, while a guy watched, just comfortably having a sandwich, I should imagine. So
I saw a guy that had collected Kurok seeds and was slowly roasting them over a fire.
Oh, I saw that. He's like, this is for all the pain you put me through for Breath of the Wild.
He collected them all up. It made his own spin and roaster, and he was slowly roasting the Kuroks. And I just thought, my God, people are in this game. They're in this game deep.
It's something that I don't think anyone else other than Nintendo could either A, get away with, and B, if they were going to run the risk of getting away with it, would probably do it so well. What do we think is the secret sauce in Nintendo's internal studios? What is that?
Oh, go on. No, you first.
Oh, sorry. I think they obviously knew, especially with Breath of the Wild, how big that game was and how people loved that game. And like I say, they'd done what I didn't think they had done until I played the game, which was you get that just starting the game, and even, I know this sounds really stupid, you're going to think I'm saying an idiot, but even just the little sound effects when you collect something, even just that real subtle music that just comes in every now and then. Other than that, you've got the wind, you've got the trees blowing. They've kept that essence of Breath of the Wild and then added to it, which is a hard thing to do in a game. We see so many sequels of games come out, which are either, I mean, you've even spoke about Jedi Survivor, where you're saying, I'm not sure if it's, added anything more. I mean, Breath of the Wild came out and everyone stopped, wow, this is amazing. It's so different. It's open world. It's brilliant. So it was hard to follow on from that. And I think they've done it. And I think a lot of people aren't realising as well that the draw distance in that is way better. They're maxing the Switch with this. The draw distance is good. The animations of Link is really good, and his hair, and they really have dialed that in. And I just think they've done a wonderful job of not going too crazy and changing it, but changing it enough to make it that you really want to get stuck into it.
Have you had hands on with this yet, Max?
I have. I'm very fortunate that I managed to get a copy. I didn't think it was going to turn up on time, and I had to keep saying to everybody that watches my streams, we might be doing it on day release, we might not. And then it literally turned up that morning. I was like, oh, phew. And really, really loved it. It's something that I will go back to. Again, that backlog of games. So I played the first initial hours of it. And I just think, as I'm saying, about the fact that it's just beautifully done. Everything about the music, that opening bit where you are falling through, and then the main title comes up.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Just like
it reminded me of Breath of the Wild when you walk out of the cave at the start, and then that just shows you the world, and this is where you're now going to off you go and find your own adventure, sort of thing, and that's the same. But obviously, and they've cleverly done it. Is being in the sky is the main premise of this game. So that title was you dropping through the sky. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I think I think this is the difference with some game studios. I mean, Nintendo have only had one really kind of kick in the backside, which was the last Pokemon game that came out quite broken. But generally, their track record has been far superior than any other company out there. And I think go back to your question of like, what makes them a good game studio is they let their game devs and people in the teams be as creative as possible and actually get on with it. There's not a thing of, we want this element in the game. There's not you need to make it this. They let it do it, see what works, see what doesn't, and then focus on it. And like I was like, so they're going to let you build stuff like Minecraft? I was like, what?
Yeah.
This is going away from the game. And then you play it and you go, oh no, this is amazing.
Yeah, it works so well.
It works. And there's different elements to it because there's the thing of the goal, because you've got to make that thing to be able to get over to that thing. So you might do trials and tests. It's like doing a science experiment. You do it and you go, oh, it went wrong. But then you go, but I want to get it right. So you want to do it again. And then you go, oh, I've cracked it. It needs this, this, and this to get me from point A to point B. And you feel so like, yes, I've done it.
And I think another good thing is, sorry to interrupt, I think another good thing they've done in this is there isn't a specific set goal you have to do.
No.
For instance, the first boat I made, there was a sail laying on the floor, there was the logs. I put the logs together, I put the sail on. Before I could jump on the boat, blown away. And I'm like, well, I ain't got a sail. But in the end, I fused 2 logs together and then another 2 logs. Then I moved them over and kept overlapping them. And I got across the water by jumping onto the logs and changing So there's so many ways to do it. There isn't a set way. You can just be as creative as you want when you do it.
Exactly. You just got to think about what you want to do. And the fact that now it's become this thing as well, they knew what they were doing when they were going to let you do anything. So roasting the Koroks, yeeting them off the islands. Like, I'm going to attach you to this thing and fire you off into the distance like a rocket. Yeah. And all the other crazy stuff you've seen. Like they did have you seen the one of the Burning Man they've made?
Yes. Yeah.
Giant Burning Man, that's hilarious.
Yes. Yeah.
But you can have so much fun with it and it's not going to break the game. And I think the other thing you said for a console that, and I know people keep banging on about, oh, the Nintendo's old hardware now and it's not going to be, when are they going to announce the new Nintendo, blah, blah, blah. But you go, right, so you can jump off one of these sky islands, go skydiving all the way down, keep going, get down to the bottom of the main land, go through a giant hole in the floor, all the way down to a lair, continuously, with nothing suddenly popping up or loading or moving into a loading screen. How can you knock a console that's 7 years old that can do a continuous thing like that without having to load? And it's seamless when you've got games that you have to open a door and wait for a loading to go through a door on stuff on Xbox and PlayStation. So I think it excels in every way.
To me, that Underworld is the thing that they've not really pumped enough. I didn't know anything about that Underworld, and I've yet to play it, but I've seen a few people playing it. I thought to myself, this Underworld, why didn't this feature more? I guess they needed a surprise, but why didn't this feature more heavily and prominently in the thing? It was all about sky and flying and doing all that sort of stuff. And then you get there and you think, there's a whole other game down here.
Yeah.
Literally.
And I think going back to Nintendo, I think Nintendo, how much we knock them, we do at certain times. They can be very aggressive with YouTubers and bits and pieces. That's their thing. But they know what their products are. You look at Mario. When was the last bad Mario game? They come out, everyone loves. I'm not a Mario person personally. I've got a few of the games, but they work. The Mario parties come out. They work good. They do exactly what they say in the tin. Zelda. When was the last bad Zelda game? They remade Link's Awakening. Brilliant. They know where their market is and they know which games have to be absolute bangers. You get certain games get released by third parties where the frame rate's bad or so and so. They had problems with Pokemon. But in general, they know that product needs to be brilliant when it comes out because that's their trademark and they do it. And I mean, I'm still impressed as well. They're quite clever with Breath of the Wild, and I know Breath of the Wild is technically a Wii U game anyway, but they're quite clever with it that keeping up with modern graphics we're not going to do on this hardware, not even on the Switch. What do? We'll go cell shading. What does cell shading look like on the Switch? Looks fantastic. Yeah. So it does look absolutely fantastic. And it adds to the character of the game, but it's a clever way of making a massive game without trying to have a real bad frame rate drop with modern graphics.
Okay, well, let's draw a line there. Let's rapidly get ourselves into the meat of the UCP sandwich. Community corrections, just a little bit of housekeeping. Community corrections. I don't think we've got any. You know,
I didn't see any. Unless someone's going to come out this week and say, I think you should find Shocks was released in 2003 on the Xbox. So
hopefully that happens.
Yeah, thanks for that.
No worries. It'll be me.
Yeah, you're now Googling, aren't you?
Straight after must this have had an Xbox. He's going straight on and checking.
Yeah.
Well, I can't because it won't be in the hidden gem section yet, will it?
Well, no.
By the time it gets in there, I'll have forgotten.
It will be this week. I'm a bit behind, but I will be.
Do you promise?
I promise.
I've got nothing to read on the bus.
And that's not a Team America promise either. That's a real promise. I promise by Friday, we'll all be up to date.
Awesome. Okay, so question to everyone out there. Did we miss anything? Do you have an opinion or take on the news we missed? If so, RGT, how would the collective masses get in contact with us? And let us know that we know nothing about EA big release schedule. C, George wouldn't know a good game if it slapped him on the arse. And C, Bomber Crew's not that good, George.
Well, you can go the old school way. You can do questions at unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. You can DM us on Instagram or Twitter, but we don't want you to do that. We want you to join the Discord. Jump in the Discord. It's a great community in there. Mags is in there.
I am.
Yeah. It's good. You know, we do everything from what we've been picking up in Stingray's boot. We've got people swapping bits and pieces of games. We're sending people bits and pieces. We've got obviously our community corrections for when I blabber on about a game that I know nothing about, or George says that Zelda's a 1 out of 10.
Mate, you haven't made a faux pas as large as original co-host Tom saying that the PS4 was backwards compatible with the PS2, have you? You haven't done that.
That was beautiful.
Done that
was amazing. I remember listening to that show thinking, is it?
Even I tried to force a PS2 disc in it. You know, even I was sold.
Yeah, but so come and join Discord. It's all free. Just jump on there, have a chat with some people. And that's handy as well because, you know, you get people on there who are unsure about games or something's wrong with the system. Put it on there. There'll be someone in there who'll help you. There'll be someone who'll know. There'll be someone who, you know, people are lending games to each other. Oh, I haven't played this. I've got 2 copies of this. You can have this one. Ping, ping, ping. All going around the country. So, yeah, come and join us. And then you can definitely get any community corrections and tell us how terrible we are at predicting games.
Okay. Well, I promised the meat. Here it is. Okay. Winner of Woman's Weekly Internet Stud of the Decade. Now, some of you have come to know him through the Discord. We got to know him at OLL, and what a wonderful experience that was. Yeah. And it certainly opened our eyes to a much wider community than just the UCP community, which is great. You join us on the Discord. We want to just take a moment to introduce you. So, Mags, I presume that stands for middle-aged gamer guy.
It does indeed, yeah.
I don't like to assume anyone's abbreviations anymore. It could be dangerous.
It's okay. And do you know what? It's not even my abbreviation. It was my community's abbreviation. They came up with it and it's kind of stuck. And it's really weird now because even people who are not involved in the gaming community now call me Mag and don't call me by my real name. And I haven't heard my real name in a long time, and it's weird. I've got to a point where people will shout my real name and I don't respond because I don't realise they're talking to me. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, I Mag. It suits me now.
Of course, I know him.
Yeah,
he's me. Okay, so obviously you're a streamer. You've mentioned that your stick is the new games. You've got a YouTube channel. You're on our Discord. Where else? Let's get people acquainted with you. Drop me everywhere that they can find you and your content. Okay. Probably exclude your home address.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Oh, I could give you my last home address and everyone can go there and then just people shit. Sorry.
Do it. No, to be honest, This slipped through.
Yeah.
No one heard it.
There'll be an edit in there. Don't worry. So I am predominantly a Twitch streamer. That's my thing. I started October of 2020, pandemic time. So it was like, yeah, I've always fancied doing this. And got up and going. Kind of just did whatever I wanted to do, but kind of had an idea that I'm going to try and focus on new stuff, but it wasn't always that. And being, as I said, mainly Xbox, I was playing whatever was out on Game Pass and stuff. Within a few weeks of streaming, came up with this wonderful idea that we were going to do a show called TNGC, Tuesday Night Gaming Chat. And it was basically focusing on all the new games that were out that week and all the gaming news. And we have done about 118 shows of that since we launched that. There's me and my best mate, Dave, who's not a streamer, but he's way up on his gaming knowledge, surpasses a lot of people that I know. So he's my co-host, and we have different guests on every week, and we've had different streamers, YouTubers. We've had game devs on. We've had journalists. I think we were very lucky that within our second or third week, we got Gary Bracey on, who's the legend from Ocean Software, because I've met him many a time, and me and him are friends through a mutual friend. And then we've just been very fortunate to have different people. And we get people on and promote, we had the guys at OLL come on and promote OLL before.
So this, what you're describing, is basically like the UCP, but good.
Yes.
I'm not gonna answer that.
Definitely.
I would like to come back on the show at some point, and I don't want to be basically excluded for the rest of my life.
Mags is the Moses of the podcast industry. He basically just parts communities and brings them together, and then pulls them to the promised land.
Yeah, I
perfect.
Whether people are indifferent or not, I sit on the fence like Switzerland. It's that thing. It's a talk show. We do it live. I say Tuesday nights 9:00. So there's a plug for it. If you want to go check it out.
When is it?
Tuesday nights 9 p.m. on Twitch.
Let me just say, what time was that again?
Tuesday 9 p.m. on Twitch.
What was that show's name again?
Tuesday Night Gaming Chat or TNGC.
Let me write that down. So, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Just give me the name again.
Okay. just to recap, if you didn't hear it for the first 500 times, it's Tuesday Night Gaming Chat or TNGC, 9 p.m. on Middle Aged Gamer Guy UK's Twitch channel. There you go.
Perfect.
There you go.
What channel was it on again?
I believe it's on Twitch.
Okay.
or you can watch it on catch up on YouTube, because I do have a YouTube channel, and I'm going to say this now: YouTube is not my biggest platform, because I have people go on YouTube and go, "Oh, you don't get
Snap,"
or you don't do that, and I go, "No, it's basically a library. I use it as a library. I do not focus on YouTube. There are videos of games that I don't do live stream that pop up in there. So, funny enough, talking about Hi-Fi Rush, I did an initial stream of that on release day. And then I only tease games. I'll only play about 3 or 4 hours of games. That's my thing now. I've got access to PC, Switch, everything. I will play all the new games, and I'm very fortunate. I get a lot of new games sent to me, so I don't have to buy them. And I do everything from bizarre indie games to the AAA stuff. So I do try and concentrate on everything. I will try and give everything a fair shout. So that means I play a bit of them. But then if there's a game that I'm really invested in, so like I said, with Dead Space or Hi-Fi Rush, and I want to complete that, I will go and continue that off stream, but broadcast that onto YouTube for people to watch. And if they don't watch it, that's fine. I don't care. It's purely for my own personal fun. But if they do watch it, it's a bonus in that respect.
What do you think is the game that you've had the most fun personally streaming online?
Oh, blimey.
So regardless of viewer counts, regardless of their feedback, maybe these were combined, I don't know, but that you personally, you were like, oh, I can't wait to get home and play that tonight, regardless of whether you were going to be streaming it or no. Which one got you the most leaky downstairs?
So the one that I had to get the towels and mop up for most recently.
My man.
I didn't even have the time to call the plumber. You know what? I'm going to say it's going back to Spider-Man, because I only got round to that last year, and it was high up on my list. As I genuinely said, I went to EGX in 2018. I think it was the NEC Birmingham before they shifted it to London, and they had the massive display of it with a big Spider-Man on the rooftop and all the games. And I sat there and went, I am so narked that this is not going to be on Xbox. And it was the first time that I went, I really want a PlayStation now. And then obviously, I've already said about how I got my PlayStation 5. That turned up and it was the collection. And I went, right, we are streaming this. I don't care. It's 4 years old now. I really want to play this. And I enjoyed every single minute of it. And I did a number of streams all the way up to last Christmas live of it.
Yep.
And then when we finally changed, because I know you met her, you met my show producer, Amy. So it's been a year now working with Amy, and we've shaped and changed. I don't do as many streams as I used to. I now focus purely on new stuff. Yes, there's a few things that we drop in for a bit of fun for the community. But she helps shape the way the channel goes. And she said, look, finish off Spider-Man, but we're not going to do full game playthroughs anymore. You don't want to spoil it for people. You want to give people a taste, and then they can throw their own opinion at it. So that's what I've done since January, and it's worked very, very well for me. So hats off to Amy for doing that, because otherwise I'd be playing hours and hours of it. But I went off on YouTube and did all the DLCs and stuff and finished the last few, and I still thoroughly enjoyed it. I think in the last year that's been my thing. I think the only other game that came close, but a lot of people will be disappointed with this, and it ended up in my top 5 games of the year, even though a lot of people were like, well, there's 2 actually. I'm going to say this now. There's 2. One was the Callisto Protocol. A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people were expecting a lot from it. I got sheer enjoyment out of that. And that's why I wasn't, because I was really hyped for that, and then wasn't much for Dead Space, because I didn't care about Dead Space at the time. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed for the ride, but I know a lot of people disappointed, and that's fair enough. And then Dead Space came out and blew it out of the water. So, but it's funny. I never go for the big things, and our Christmas show at TNGC. I pick 5 games, Dave picks 5 games, and we have a guest that picks 5 games. And I quite randomly have some really obscure top 5 games of the year. My number 1 game of last year was Goat Simulator 3. And I loved every single minute of that. And even though I haven't done more streams of it, I only did 1 3-hour stream of it. That was probably the one where it was the one-off stream that I just couldn't wait for, and I was so hyped for, and I just laughed my head off all the way through with that game, because it was just brilliant. Everything about it, it's deliberately meant to you just go, what the hell's going on here? But all the little nods and all the little things to other games, and just the chaos of it all, it was just a beautiful, beautiful moment.
I like simulator games, but I've never played Goat Simulator because I don't really feel like it takes its simulator too seriously.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
But
It is mad.
if you want a game, and I mean, look, I got to play test this back in October. I was invited to go and play test this, which was great. And, you know, it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it was like this, yes, I get
Goat Simulator.
Yeah. And it was just because I knew ever since they did that trolling thing trailer, which everyone thought was going to be Dead Island 2. Yeah. And it wasn't. It was then taking the mick out of Dead Island 2, because 6 months later, Dead Island 2 was then announced. I just thought, this is going to be great. And just for the fact it's called Goat Simulator 3, and they never did a Goat Simulator 2, shows you how serious they're about this game, right? But it's done so well. This is the thing. They don't care about the game, but what they care about is the experience and everything they put into it. So you've got a game dev that actually does care about the game secretly, and they put a lot of time and effort into it. But it's just a pure enjoyment factor. and all the things you can go and fight. And you go off and do what you want in any crazy order. And I still haven't finished it, but I've stumbled on nods to Fallout, Skyrim, the original Wolfenstein, and there's just some hilarious moments.
I kind of want to. I don't think that comment's going to survive the edit because I'm going to make that edit so it sounds like you're talking about the UCP. Perfect.
Do it, and then just say, and the Discord is amazing as well. Just tag that on. There you go. You got your content out of me.
It's another tenner. Write that down. Remember, you got to pay him. Okay. Goat Simulator 3 aside.
Yeah.
You're also organising events. Tell me about this Timeless Games convention.
Oh, yeah. So this is a gaming convention on the 16th of August. It's our second year. We'll be at Europe's largest arcade and probably one of the best arcades, which is Arcade Club in Bury, near Manchester, Greater Manchester. Before me doing the official plug for that, do you guys want to know how this come about? Because it's such a weird story as well.
Well, I love a good plug.
Okay.
And I just love a good plug.
All right. Tell you what, we'll do a sandwich within the sandwich, shall we?
Yes, please. Right. This is what I turned up for.
All right. So, Timeless Gaming Convention, 16th of August. Arcade Club Bury, Europe's largest arcade, 4 floors of gaming heaven, over 300 retro arcade machines, all the latest new arcade machines, rhythm action games, shooting games, driving games, pool tables, air hockey, basketball, Nintendo Switches, Xboxes, pinball machines, all free to play for 12 hours.
And girlfriends. You get a girlfriend?
Possibly. We did have ladies at the event last year, which was amazing. And you can basically play all that and do nothing else all day if you want, right? But on top of that, we've got a main stage where we do live gaming challenges of gamings of the retro era and modern era, so we combine the best of both. Hence why it's called Timeless. So we try and deliver the best of both worlds with this. There's loads of prizes to win. There's going to be some extra competitions. Last year, we gave a brand spanking new PlayStation 5 away with Horizon Forbidden West. And that was for literally buying a ticket. So we got to 6:00 in the evening and we went, get your tickets out. And we did a raffle. And someone walked away with a brand new PlayStation.
Mumsy, get me some tickets to Timeless Games Convention.
Now, I could tell you now, we're not giving away a PS5 this year.
Mumsy, cancel the tickets to Timeless Games Convention.
But we are giving away a prize just as good as that. As far as
Mumsy, get me the tickets to Timeless Gaming Convention in Bury.
Right?
The biggest arcade.
We are so everyone who does the game challenges gets to win a prize if they win that. We've got that. We're partnered with Geek Retreat for the second year. So I want to say a big shout out to Geek Retreat. They are turning up. They're doing a whole area of tabletop board games, card games. So Brilliant. You can basically try before you buy. They will teach you how to play the games.
Oh, that's good. That is brilliant.
They're great.
For those games, that's a really killer idea.
It's brilliant. We approached them last year. They were like, let's do it. And at first it was like, oh, we're going to have a trade stand and sell stuff. And we're like, that's cool. But they were like, but can we have an area and we'll teach people? And we're like, that's amazing. And they've backed us again. It's a massive shout out to Geek Retreat for doing that. And then we've got a seminar and conference area where we're going to have guests of gaming future and gaming past. I'm not allowed to say who's announced yet because we've signed some contracts, but we're going to be announcing stuff in the next couple of weeks. But you're going to get people from the retro era and the new, and there'll be Q&A, so you get to speak to some of your gaming heroes. But then we're also doing stuff that was demanded. But last year we had an Ocean Software reunion. We had Gary Bracey, we had Jim Bagley, we had Jason who works on New Zealand Story. They were all there, did a reunion Q&A. We had Brad Burton, who's been a co-commentator on Games Master, talking about his gaming life and gaming journalism. We had Paul McNally, who worked on PlayStation Pro magazine, numerous Mega Drive action, Sega action, Amiga action, all those magazines. He's been a gaming journalist for 30 years and now writes gamer guides. So I know he's literally just finished the Tears of the Kingdom gamer guide. They put so much effort and time into it. we had Kim Justice, who you guys saw met at OLL, interviewed Kim, talking about like how she's basically a historian on everything retro. And
I love a bit of Kim.
Kim's brilliant. I have to say, I give all the time in the world for Kim. And we had Adam Sawkins, the developer of the original Burnout games, and he did a talk.
Wow.
And he also we did Beat the Dev, and people were challenging him on his own game.
Oh, that's brilliant. What a brilliant idea.
And Adam was so cool that even after his half an hour, 45-minute segment that he finished, he went downstairs to the first floor, hooked up his Xbox to one of the giant TVs, and people said, if you want, just for fun, because we're giving the prize away, come and challenge me. And he was there for another 3 hours playing against the people. So, big shout out to Adam. So that's the kind of guests that we had. But the feedback we got is, that's great. We want to go and meet people and sign stuff and blah, blah, blah. But can we have some more stuff that's more useful as well, in terms of, if I want to be a gaming dev, how do I get into it? If I want to be a gaming journalist, how do I get into it? If I want to get into gaming shows, podcasting, blah, 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 all this sort of stuff. So we've split it down the middle so that the Q&R and seminar stage is going to have half of your gaming hero history and reunions, and the other half, and the first one that we are going to announce, and you guys get the exclusive on this. So this hasn't been announced yet, but we are bringing Paul McNally back, because being an editor for 30 years, he's going to host a panel. And the panel is going to be about gaming magazines in the modern day and being a journalist now, how difficult it is. So we've got the guys from Amiga Addict, which is a retro magazine, but it's a modern magazine.
Yeah.
Pixel Addict. So we've got the likes of Paul Monahan as a guest on. We've got the guys from Debug magazine, who are going to be there, which is a brand new indie magazine. And a big shout out to them for doing that. And we're going to have some other people, and they're basically going to talk about the differences. And if you want to get in gaming journalism now, the differences from that. So we want to give something back to the people that are going. And again, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a big plug. We literally announced this week that our second big partner for the show is Debug. So Debug are not only going to give away copies of their magazine free to all the VIPs in the VIP goodie bag. So if you buy a VIP ticket, you've got a free £8 magazine there right away.
Mumsy!
Give me VIP tickets.
Give me VIP tickets. Not
Cancel the ticket you just bought. So now
keep them. It increases the odds of winning something.
It does. It does. So they're going to not only put a free magazine in every VIP bag, they are also going to be on some of the panels and showcasing stuff. But they're also going to have a stand selling the next edition of the magazine, and they are going to showcase some indie games that are featured in the magazine. Now, some of those games might have been like other shows like OLL that we're all at, and will be at other gaming shows, but we are going to get a few exclusives as well, which is really cool. So not only are you can play all these amazing retro games, and you can go play Minecraft and Fortnite on the Xboxes or Mario Kart on the Switches. You can play a load of new indie games, which we didn't get to do last year. So we have got some other game developers. We've got a little exhibition area, so there will be merch to sell and bits and pieces, and there might be some wonderful people that you might get to meet. That hint that you might be listening to now.
Do it.
Yeah. So it was. Well, are we allowed to announce this? Because have we officially?
If you announce it now, you've almost forced us.
Forced your hand. So there's some very good podcasters that are interviewing me right now.
They could make it.
They couldn't make it, so we got started with these guys. But the UBC guys, who can I just take a minute out? I'm going to sidetrack here. Firstly, thank you for being so welcoming at OLL, because I know it was like the first time. I think was it the first time you officially exhibited at that? Was that right?
It's the first time we put our heads above the internet to say that we're actually real people. Yeah. So,
firstly, thank you so much for being. I found it generally that everyone was so welcoming there, because I'd been to that show before, but it's the first time that I was an official guest. Being on stage and exhibiting and blah, blah, blah. So it was quite a surreal thing for me, as I suppose it was for you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for making me so welcome. And thank you for bringing me into the Discord and stuff, because it's really cool. But it's like, I feel I can return the favour now and say, because these guys are going to be at our show and they're going to be exhibiting, but they are also going to be guests, and we're going to utilise them in the best way possible, because we'll probably get them up on some of the gaming challenges to co-commentate with me, which they probably didn't know about, but I'll just drop that in just to drop you in the shit.
We're all in.
We're all in, yeah.
And also they will be featuring on the talk about podcasters and stuff. There'll be other podcasters on there.
Actually, I am going to have to kick off there because I signed up to teach people how to be a below average underdog of a podcast. Not these highbrow, highfalutin cowboys.
So what I can do is I can get my people to talk to your people, amend the contract, and then when we get the guest host that comes in, he will introduce all the other guests first, get them to sit down, and then go, oh yeah, and then we've got these guys, and I'll ask them the questions last. Is that good?
And this is what happens if you don't listen. This is what you end up like.
Yeah. only if we can come out to Eastbound and Down from Smokey and the Band.
I'll tell you what, maybe not for the seminar stage, but we do walk on and play on music for guests on the gaming challenge stage. So if you do remind me that, we might actually be able to make that happen.
Perfect. RGT, you best get your fingers ready because I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can. I don't think I can fail in public. Not again.
I think it could be the highlight of UCP's career.
Yeah, what I would call the high tide watermark in the bath.
But just after it's finished, there's just that scum round the edge.
Yeah. A random coloured hair that you didn't think your body could grow, but it must be yours.
And you're like, was someone else using this bath? No, so there you go. We've announced something else. So we'll officially get contract signed and blah blah blah. But we really want you guys to be a part of it. So we've got all that going on. We've also got an after show party with a DJ. So you basically, if you've got your VIP tickets, you can get in from 10 a.m. I
need a night pass.
Yeah, but you don't need a night pass. You don't need a night pass. Right. So if you've got a VIP ticket, you can get in from 10 a.m. and it runs till 10 o'clock at night. If you've got a standard ticket, you get in at 11.
Mags, I think you misunderstand. I need a night pass to be allowed out past curfew because I'm a tag.
Yeah. Better ask for that night pass now. But we basically, you've got a couple of hours to play on all the machines, and then all the content on the stage in the exhibition's open kind of between 12 and 6-ish. And then we're doing an hour where we're going to do the big giveaways. So we got a big giveaway. There is something else I'd like to plug if this is okay. So if anyone's listening to this and goes, I really would like to go to this and I would like to plug this, we have got a scheme that we're plugging after next week, because to give another event a plug, we are exhibiting at Format next week in Manchester. We are there. Mm-hmm. And it's cool that we've got another gaming event that supports our event and we're supporting them. And again, big shout out to Simran and all the team Format. It's going to be a great night. But the idea is they bring a lot of streamers together. And again, also podcasters, YouTubers, etc. And we've basically said, look, from doing it last year, we missed a trick by not having a lot of streamers. We did have streamers there, but not necessarily big names. But we were like, the best way to promote this event is through streamers, podcasters, YouTubers. So we've come up with an initiative to say, look, if you want to help promote the event, if you sell so many tickets, I'm not going to divulge into all the details, but if you sell so many tickets, we'll bung you some free tickets worth like 50 quid, right? But on top of that, for everyone that buys tickets through you, because we can track it, they will also get entered into a separate draw where all those people will also potentially win something live on stage.
Wow.
Mumsy, I don't even know what to shout anymore.
Just buy all the tickets, all of them. VIP, evening pass, standard pass, all of them.
Yeah. So we want to kind of say thank you for supporting that YouTuber, podcaster, streamer. And because of that, one of you lot is going to win a prize. Plus, anyone that supported the event could potentially win a really good prize.
UCP Towers is going to look like Veronica Salt's dad's factory, where they're all just opening Wonka bars to try and find the golden ticket.
Yeah. Amazing.
What a great idea.
So we're going to put details about that in the next week or so. We're going to get Format out of the way and that. So if anyone's interested, feel free to DM me or
and you're going to what's this event called?
So Format, which is
no, hang on a minute. What's it called again?
Format.
Where is that?
So format is in Manchester in Possible Nightclub.
What date is that?
That is Thursday the 25th. It is apparently the UK's #1 nightlife gaming event. So if you like clubbing, but you're like, and I've never experienced before, I did go last year, clubbing, but there's computer games to play.
Wow, it sounds like the 1995 advert for Wipeout.
I was going to say the same thing, yeah.
So a banging soundtrack while you play VR and indie games. So that's brilliant. What format is. Wow. But we'll be there. If you go along, come and say hi. We're exhibiting. We're on the ground floor. And when I say we, myself and producer Amy. So that's kind of what we got going. But after we've done the giveaways, we have DJ Mike Storm. Now, some people are going to go, I don't know who he is, but he's a very good DJ that streams on Twitch, and he's flying all the way over from Canada to basically perform for us. Now, last year when we did the gaming show,
do you think that's his real? Sorry, I can't help the way my brain works. Do you think that's his real name?
I know Mike's his real name. I don't know what his last name is.
Oh, I hope it's Storm.
If it is Storm, then that's amazing.
If he wasn't going to be a DJ, it was going to be an action figure.
Yeah.
Wrestler.
Action man for the UK people.
Yeah, this is badass. Okay.
So he's going to do a live DJ set from 7 till 10. So then after like that, you can either go have a party. There's a bar on the first, second, and third floor, right? Whoa. The drinks are cheap. Now, this is the one thing we pride ourselves on.
No, they're not cheap. They're affordable.
Okay, they're affordable.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to say that because you go to a lot of gaming conventions, and I'm not going to name them because I love those gaming conventions, but you go and a pint of lager is the best part of £6 or something, and you go and buy a burger and it's £12.50, right? So they've got a bar that stocks everything. They've got tea, coffee, all your soft drinks, all your different alcohol stuff, right? And it's affordable. It's cheaper than some flipping pubs, I'm going to say. And then they've got a restaurant, and they do your burgers, your pizzas, hot dogs, nachos, and you can get like a giant pizza for £4.
Brilliant.
So it's all affordable. You don't need to go anywhere else. There's a bar on every floor.
Mumsy?
I need £4.
I need to get in, then I need £4 for the pizza.
Right, yeah. But here you go. If you buy a VIP ticket, you get a lunch voucher included. So you get lunch free. So you can either have nachos, burger, pizza, hot dog included in the VIP ticket. Because we did that last year. And
that's incredible.
Mumsy, we're eating this year.
We're eating well.
We're eating like kings. So really within more pumps and a Reebok factory there.
Yeah.
How did you come to the idea that you wanted to do the Timeless Gaming Convention?
Okay, so starting last year, we had that very odd January where I had got tickets for EGX Birmingham. Now, EGX had not been hosted in Birmingham since 2018. They moved it to London. Then COVID happened. Then it came back in a different way, and it was okay. And then they did it. They did it it came back in a different way in 2021, and it was a smaller show, but it was nice to have one of the first gaming shows back after COVID. And they announced that they were going to do EGX Birmingham. And we were like, cool. So they're going to do London and Birmingham, because everyone moans on social media, oh, you don't do it in Birmingham anymore, and I don't want to travel from blah, blah, blah. So we're like, this is cool. And it got to the end of January, and annoyingly, there was no mention of it. It was on their website, but nothing. And we were like, I think they're going to axe this. And there was no real reason. And I'm not knocking Repop or anyone for this. I personally didn't think there was a reason for them to knock it on the head. But maybe the game developers were still like, oh, we've still got COVID over in Europe and blah, blah, blah. We ain't going to come over. And they pulled it. So we were like, that's really annoying. And we did go to EGX London last October, which was great. Had good fun with that for the 4 days. But we were like, there doesn't seem to be that much going on. And at the same time they pulled it was the big announcement that yet again E3 was getting pulled. And there's a game dev, an independent game dev out there who's an avid watcher of my show called Johnny the Dodger. And a big shout out to Johnny, because without him, we wouldn't have had this idea. Johnny saw one of my comments on my shows saying, do you think it's odd that these shows are getting pulled? and what the reasons for it. And Johnny turned around and went, you and Brad Burton, who's the guy who was the guest on the show, who I'm good friends with, you two could bump your heads together and put on a better show than this. So me and Brad went, that's not a bad shout. And we kind of went, right, let's give this a crack. So bear in mind, this is January. The weekend came that was supposed to be EGX Birmingham, which was March. We still went to Birmingham because we booked the hotel and that. And we met up with a few of the community, and we went and watched the new Batman film, and we went and did some other stuff, went in an arcade and met up for dinner.
Cool.
Blah, blah, blah. Made a weekend of it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. And then immediately bombed it up to Bury and went to check out Arcade Club and met with the manager and stuff and said, look, we're really considering doing this event. We need a venue. Brad raves about this venue. Everyone else raves about it, but it is a hidden gem because still there's loads of people who don't know about it. And even they said, people in Bury don't know about this event, or people in Manchester don't know about this venue, which is insane. They get more people from further afield than they do, which is nuts. So we went and checked it out, and we're like, this is perfect. And literally 2 weeks after, Brad and me went out and went, boom, this is the event. Now, it was called something else, but for various reasons, I'm not going to go into what it was. But if you look at our website, you can see what it was called last year. And we basically pushed it out. And as I said, we had all those amazing guest speakers on stage. We did Games Master style gaming challenges, and you had all the machines to play all day. And we did pretty well with it. We did pretty well. We didn't sell it out, but for a first time punt, we didn't make a loss. And we were like, this is really good. We did it last August, and we had a whale of a time. And it was a lot of hard work, and there was times where we were like, oh, this is looking a bit wavy. We had certain things that people dropped out of it, and then we had to find replacements and stuff. But we pulled it off, and we were like, great, we'll do it again. And ideally, I wanted to hit the ground running and go, right, let's do this, and let's announce this in the autumn. And it didn't happen. Now, Brad isn't really involved with games anymore. Brad is actually, he's classed as the UK #1's motivational speaker. And he's getting busier and busier, and he's a great speaker. If you ever get to see him, he's amazing. So he's got this one life in gaming, and he's got this other life. And he was getting busier and busier. And we got to January of this year. And I'm like, we're missing a trick here. We should have started. And everyone keeps asking us, are we doing it? I was like, I really want to do this. And it got to the start of March. And Brad was like, well, maybe we should move it around. Like, maybe because everyone said, oh, same sort of thing like EGX was going. Maybe you should do a Birmingham one. Maybe you should do a London one. Maybe you should come over to Wales and do one. We were like, well, maybe we can move it around. But after doing a lot of hunting and a lot of speaking to different venues, it came very clear that there was no else anywhere better than Arcade Club because of what it offers and what we can do. There's lots of other great gaming venues out there. Again, I'm not knocking them, but like some were amazing. They had all the games, but there was no space for a stage. There was no space for everything. So we'd be charging a ticket to go play games, which is what they do day in, day out. So what's the point of doing that? We wanted to add value to this venue, right? So that's what we're doing. So we basically turned around and went, we want to come back. And they welcomed us back with open arms. And we said, we want to change a few things. And they were like, well, we've got some ideas as well, which is cool. So we're working with them on it. And then Brad turned around and was like, I can't do this anymore because he's getting booked to speak out in Vegas and Europe, and he's dashing around all over the world. And I'm having Zoom calls with him while he's in Vegas before he's about to go on stage. And he went, I'll back you and help you with anything you want, but I want to pull out of this as a partner. And he went, if anyone can do it, you can. Now, there's kind of an extent of truth to that because it's a lot of work for one person to do. And I have a certain amount of contacts, but I'd be limited. And as I've already mentioned, I've got producer Amy, who helps me with all my Twitch stuff and shows. And basically, she is my manager, really. And a big shout out to Amy, if you're listening to this. Because what has annoyed, Amy came in and went, I want to swoop in and I don't want to work for you, but I want to be a 50-50 partner on Timeless. So we did kind of rebrand, we did rejig stuff, and it is now known as Timeless Gaming Convention. And we have said it's not just about the retro. Yes, we are celebrating the retro, but we're celebrating the new stuff as well.
Mm.
And that's why we feel that this brand, and a lot of people have turned around and said, we thought you'd got a good brand before, but we really like this. And we're keeping in all the stuff that worked really well. And we're changing up a few things that people said, oh, it'd be nice to have it here from game devs and this, and also have, how to be a better streamer. That's something that we're putting in one of the seminars,
Bumsy, sign me up for that.
Yeah. There you go. So going to have people talking about that. And it's evolved. And Amy has got a world of contacts, because it's funny. Amy's one of these people that shies away from the limelight, yet she's probably more overqualified than anybody I ever know.
Because she had a big Twitch base, didn't she?
She was a Twitch partner.
Yeah.
And she spoke live on stage at Comic-Cons, like in San Diego, and was at TwitchCon, and was flying all over the world, and was earning, I'm not even going to say what the amounts were a month, but a ridiculous amount of money. She had sponsors flying out of her backside, right? And she got to the point, and Amy's about 22, 23 years younger than me. So I make no fear. I am 43, hence why I'm a middle-aged gamer guy.
I was trying to do the maths. I was like, she's 5?
Yeah, that'd be wrong. That'd be wrong. I mean, she might be able to pick up a controller, but yeah. So she partner when she was like 17, 18.
Wow.
She's now like, so she's now an adult now, right? She's an earlier. She was a teenager when she was on Twitch, right? But she was in the later stages of being a teenager when she was on Twitch. She was 16, 17, right? She's now 18, 19 now, right? And she basically has done a lot of stuff in her life at a very young age. I still consider myself very new to this, and I'm a very sort of a noob at this. And she basically has got contacts with a lot of major people, and all she has to do is pick up a phone. And even though she doesn't stream anymore, she keeps her dips her toes in the water and says blah blah blah, and she can basically go, "We want this, and we're doing this, and we want this," and they go, "Okay, yeah, all right." So we've got some stuff that we can't announce that she's working on, which is going to be really freaking cool. But she brings a lot to the table that I could never bring. And that it makes the perfect partnership. And again, it showcases that thing of like, we're really good friends. Anyone who watches the show, you will think that we hate each other in real life, because there's a whole shtick of she hates me. And even at OLL, she was going around going, God, it's Mag, and I have to spend the weekend with him. And it's really funny, but we are very, very good friends. I'm not going to shatter that illusion, because it is good content, but we are very, very good friends. And it just seemed like the perfect idea that we partner up and we work on this together.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Because I'll put my hands up now. Brad leaving was a bit of a kick in the nuts, but I think if he had stayed, I think this wouldn't be happening this year. It would have just got shelved. And again, he's a busy guy, and that's no disrespect to him, but I think it would have just got left for a year, and maybe it would have come back next year, or maybe it wouldn't. But we're like, look, if we've got to do this, we've got to do this now, because people keep asking us. And Amy's the perfect fit for this. She's young, she's vibrant, she knows what she wants, she knows how to do it, and it just works. And I think
sounds brilliant. And I think for me as well, I think by the sounds of it, you've really cornered everything. You've got that little bit for everyone. If you're retro, they're there. If you like arcade machines, they're there. If you like modern, they're there. If you want to be a streamer, we'll help. If you like podcasts, people are there.
Yeah.
And us. But there's that
nice.
But no, there's that bit for everyone, which I think is brilliant and hard to do. It's hard to get that bit of every corner covered, but you seem to be doing it.
I promised I'll never show my face in public again, but you've somehow sort of talked us into it. I don't know what or how, but fair play to you.
I don't know. To be fair, it was you guys that reached out to me, and again, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate that.
We appreciate come to time. This sounds an amazing event. I'm very excited for it. I can't wait. I
think it's going to be great. And look, we're going to put an aim out there. We want to sell this out. It is not the biggest event. There, like our capacity, we are locked to a capacity of 450 people.
No, don't dress it up like that. No.
No. But look, see where I'm going.
It's an exclusive.
No, I get that. But look.
Very affordable.
Yeah.
Lots of good people there. What more? What more? And if it helps, we can quit tomorrow. It's no biggie.
Bring the ticket sales down. Is that it?
Yeah. If you really want to sell out.
Yeah. Mumsy, buy all the tickets, but cancel out all the other. Yeah.
So, like the way I say is, look, and in all fairness, and I know. Thank you for bigging it up, but I'm going to say, look, we're not the biggest gaming event. But what I like to say is, the people who went last year, we put out feedback forms, and we got 100% excellent feedback.
Fantastic.
And they were like, because this was an experience.
So that's cool.
We're not with the likes of the big things like your Insomnias and EGX. We could never match that sort of stuff. We are not anywhere near as big and as cool and as independent as stuff like OLL, right? But we are very different from other gaming events. And I think that's what makes us cool and amazing. And basically why people were like, this is so good, you've got to do it again. And that's what makes us unique. And I think if you want to go to something where, say, even if you're not interested in any of the... there were people who went to the event last year and went, I didn't watch anything on the stage. I didn't see any of that. I just spent hours going from floor to floor, playing all the different games, all the modern stuff, all the retro stuff. And then we had the vice versa, where people said, I sat on the comfy sofas. Yes, we have comfy sofas on the main stage, by the way. Sat and watched all the content. Yeah.
Mumsy, cancel the order for the Piles pillow.
Yeah. And they were like, I watched from start to end all the content on the stage and played maybe 2 games out of like the 500 plus games. And it's so funny how different people did different. And then you had people who did a bit of both,
Yeah.
So that's our thing. It's unique. We want to sell this out. We're going to be announcing loads of stuff. We're going to be announcing our guests, our exhibitors. We're going to be announcing other things, our guest hosts. We want to do something different. So it was a lot of work for me and Brad to do. It was just us two. And I spent 12 hours on stage straight. And to do 12 hours on stage straight is difficult. But to jump up and down like an idiot and do stuff and get through it nearly killed me the next day. I literally did the drive back from Manchester. I went to sleep at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, slept through to the next day. But so we're trying to be clever. Like Amy and me are going to be doing stuff on the one stage and might appear on the other stage, but we've got guest hosts. So we're bringing some of the guests back from last year. So they're not technically a guest, but they're going to chair the Q&A for us.
Brilliant.
So you kind of we're doubling up on guests. So if you missed them last year, you might get to see them this year. But then there's a focus on the new guests that we got, which is cool.
Fantastic.
Let me mix it up a little bit, if I may.
Yeah,
Let me just ask you, first of all, a question. First question.
Yeah.
Are you going to be dropping all these links in our Discord?
Yes. Once we're allowed to announce certain stuff, then we will do that.
That's exciting. There's another reason to join the Discord. Okay. And all joking aside, for some reason, we have been, I don't know even if this is politically correct to say anymore, but welcome Russia. We're absolutely stomping the Russian charts right now, and I have got no idea why, what we have done. But everyone's a gamer. Most important question.
Yeah.
Just so we can all get to know a little bit more about you and your journey.
Okay.
What was your first console?
So,
or computer? Because let's not hem it in that way.
No, do you know what? So there's 2 answers. I can answer both. So the first answer is the console existed before I was born, and my mum and dad had it. So I was born in 79, and they bought an Atari 2600.
A real vintage of quality.
Yes. Not just the year, but also that console. So
very much.
Right. Yeah. They had the Atari 2600. In fact, they've still got it. I'm not joking. Atari 2600. Not just with the paddles for Pong, which were the little twisty things with the button on the side, but also the joysticks. Right?
Iconic joystick.
Iconic joysticks. And I had a collection of games. Now, obviously, for the first couple of years, I couldn't even walk or talk because I was a baby. But as soon as I learned to do that, I started playing that and had great fun on Pong, Outlaw, Yar's Revenge. And that was my first experience of gaming at a very, very young age, playing fun games like that. And the nice thing with that Atari is that Atari was still making games all the way to the mid-90s, because you could get games like Rampage, which had been out on everything else, but finally made its way, and Double Dragon. Now, they were a very different port, because obviously the NES and SNES existed then and wasn't quite as good, but it was still fun to play on an Atari. So that was my first console. And then round about 1987, I really wanted a computer, and you can't see the air quotes on the podcast, but we say this, be able to do schoolwork.
As we all did.
And it was in the days when I was 7 years old, so I still believed in Santa Claus. And I woke up that one.
He is real.
Yes, he is.
Yep, definitely.
Sorry. Other fictional characters are also available.
Oh no.
There goes the fourth wall.
There's half the listeners just gone.
Yeah. Sorry. I told you wouldn't have me back on the show, but there you go. But there we go. And they basically not only got me a Spectrum, but they got the Spectrum Plus 3, the first one to have a disc drive.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. And
it's a rare beast nowadays.
Yeah. Spectrum Plus 3, still have that. And it came with an Ocean Software games collection. And to this day, I have fond memories of the first game booting up was Cobra with Star the front.
Wow.
And when I finally got introduced to Gary Bracey from Brad, we'd gone to Play Expo in Blackpool many moons ago. We're probably talking about 6-8 years ago. Got to meet Gary, having a drink in the bar. He's the nicest guy ever. Great to say that he's now a friend that I can call upon if I need stuff for. He's great. And he said, your experience of Ocean, what was the first game you played that you loved of ours? I said, Cobra. And he went, really? And he went, yeah. I went, I loved it. The weapons, the fact that they throw prams at you and stuff, you have to jump over it and the different guns. And he went, most people criticised that because it was too hard a game. And he said, you're one of the very rare people that enjoyed that. So I had a Spectrum for many, many years, and that was my first computer. And here's the funny story. So I did do schoolwork on it for about a week. Now, my parents not knowing much about computers and game things, and to be honest, still to this day, they don't understand stuff. I started to type out my first school essay. I was like, I'm going to be fancy. I'm going to type it out. I'm not going to write it with my crayons or whatever, or pencils or whatever we had. And I'm going to hand it out. Just one thing, though, I hadn't bought a printer. So I spent hours typing this thing out to then be able to save it to a floppy disk, to do nothing with it. So then had to rewrite the whole thing out. And never since then did I ever do any schoolwork on it.
Yeah, Mum and Dad should have got me the printer.
Yeah, it's their fault.
Not like I was sounding like I was totally not grateful.
What? Just so I can get an understanding of where the winds of gaming blew you after. What came after that Spectrum?
So after Spectrum Plus 3, all my friends had NESes, and I was way behind. It's really weird. I've always been way behind until I started my Twitch career, which is kind of weird. So it took me until the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game came out on NES, and they did the package to get a NES. So people had NESes for about 4 years.
Yeah.
From NES, I went to SNES, but again, SNES was quite a few years after it came out. And then I had friends who had Mega Drive and SNES, so I went down the SNES route. Weirdly, then, you'd think I'd go down the N64 route, but I didn't. I got a PC and I duped my folks again. So I was in secondary school, about to do my GCSEs, but I was doing computer studies. And ironically, bless them, the school didn't have enough computers for all the people to do the programming or the Word documents or the things that we were learning, because we had to do like information studies as well. So you had to basically do a spreadsheet. You had to do it, learn how to do all that. So if you couldn't get on a computer at our school, you had to use a typewriter, right?
Oh, wow.
So my parents were like, well, why are you using a typewriter at school when we could buy you a computer? And again, they did buy a printer this time. They learned from their mistakes, bless them. And I got a PC and I did use it. I did actually use this. I can say this for work. And it meant I wasn't having to go to like after school club to wait to get to use a computer to do a Word document or whatever. So I could do it. I could do the homework and do it. But again, it came with a game package and it came with Descent.
Oh.
And then, and that was a good start. And I like that. And, not everyone's cup of tea, but I started with that. And then it came, I got some other games. And then again, behind the trend, but got round to playing the original GTA and loved it. Now, what's funny about me is I love the original GTA, and then I haven't really bothered with all the other GTAs.
Oh my!
Bizarre story. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's one of those. I'm not a big cop. I try and play everything that's new and that's fair, and give it a good shout. Yet there's a lot of mainstream games that I've never played or will or possibly stream. But that's just me. Probably explains why Goat Simulator 3 was my game of the year. So that says a lot about me. But it was we went to PC, Doom 2, Half-Life, all that sort of stuff. And some of those games are always still going to be my top 10 games of forever. And continue with PC up until a point. So missed all your Dreamcasts, your N64s, your GameCubes, missed out on the DSs and all that, missed out on PlayStation 1, the original Xbox 360, and then finally bought my first house. And when I moved in with the girlfriend at the time, inherited the PlayStation 2. So the PlayStation 2 was never mine, but she hardly used it. So then started getting games that I'd missed out on. So like 13 and 24 and Wacky Races and things like that and Time Splitters and playing all those. And then she was so kind of not hacked off, but annoyed that I was playing it more than her. For a Christmas present, she got me the Xbox 360.
Nice.
Right.
That's when I got into, and it came with the Kinect. And whether you love or hate it, I thought the Kinect was great. Yes, some of the games were trash on it, but there's some really good quality.
What was your favourite Kinect game?
So I would say, because there were a couple of good ones. A lot of the stuff that Rare put out was great, like the sports games and that, because it got me into sports games. And the Kinect Adventures that was bundled with it was a great one. But for me, there was a Rare one, which I don't think everyone saw, because a lot of the bigger names, like the Star Wars one, didn't do well, and the horror one didn't do too well. But there was a game called The Gunslinger, made by the guys that did, is it Omega Man, Omega Woman? The funny thing where he goes skating around and just explode. Oh, Exploder Man. Explode. Yeah. And they made it, and it's just so well done because it carts from live action stuff to cartoon style. And you've basically got to use your
like
hands
a marionette.
Yeah. And it jumps from side scrolling to first person to third person to other elements. And the story is so good in it, and how it bounces things. And they've even got they dropped Lloyd Kaufman from the Troma films into it. So there's a bit of a B movie feel to it. It was just very, very well done. And it's just a shame that the Kinect didn't continue, because then Xbox made the mistake of going to the Xbox One and saying Kinect will always be on and Kinect will always do this. And then people went, geez, I don't want that. It's like Big Brother watching me. And then Kinect bombed.
Well, don't forget their original statement was Kinect's doing some of the processing, the actual console, so we can't separate these. We can't get them separately, guys. They're not going to work. And
then they U-turned, and then it turned out you didn't need it. So again, I was a little bit late to the party because I got my Xbox 360 quite a few years after that. Xbox One was announced. I gave it a year, and then I got my Xbox. So I can tell you it was FIFA 2008 was bundled with it. I didn't really want that. I'm not a massive FIFA. I'll play FIFA, don't get me wrong. Again, if it's there, I'll play it. FIFA 2018, not 2008. What am I on about? Too early.
We were on board for the journey.
That's cool. So it came with that, but it also came with Rise of the Tomb Raider. And that's what I wanted it for. So Black Friday deal. Got it a year after Xbox One came out. Very happy with my Xbox. As I say, PlayStation 4, far superior console, but I stuck by Xbox. Used that all the way up. And then literally, there's a theme here you'll see. My ex-wife, or my ex-wife now, she bought me literally 2 months after it got released, the Xbox Series X. So I got an Xbox Series X for my birthday / Christmas, which is actually Christmas Day. I'm weird like that. My birthday is on Christmas Day. And she even said to me, it was quite funny. She did something really, really cool. Well, not cool for me because I called her a git after we unveiled the present. I called her a lying git because she said, I've tried and tried and tried to get this for your birthday and I just can't. There's no, and I said, look, I know it's really difficult to get a PS5 or Xbox anywhere. And the big present for my birthday was an Xbox Series X. So I got that in 2020. And ironically, the game that I'd already just pre-bought with that was Cyberpunk. Let's not talk about that. So let's leave that aside, because then I played that on an Xbox One and it was trash. And then I played it on Xbox Series X and it was trash. I had an Xbox Series X and I love it. And it's still out to this day, gets more use than anything else that I've got. So that was 2020. We're going to 2021. We got the whole conversation with the guy saying, stop dumping on PlayStation, stop taking the mick. And then they put the money where the mouth is and got me a PlayStation 5. Loved the PlayStation 5. So started streaming PlayStation games as well. I bought the wife at the time. I make it sound like I've got multiple wives that I haven't.
No, but one thing I was going to say, Mags, is no man of quality can tell a story without being able to officially refer to his ex-wife. It just adds so much colour and nuance.
It does. And look, I mean, we parted.
Look at John McClane.
Yeah.
Right.
Except I won't say yippee-ki-yay at the end.
You could say mumsy lover. That's the abbreviation we've come up with that. So it's not mumsy, whatever it would be on there. We say yippee-ki-yay mumsy lovers.
That's nice. I'll just say yippee-ki-yay and then have a blank space where ITV edited it out when it was premiered on.
If we had someone to do all that, I'm sure they'd make it work.
Yeah. Well, no, I'll do the blank space for you. So you go, yippee-ki-yay!
Unfortunately, there's just gonna be an empty space in the show.
Yes, that's what Just how they used to do it on TV. Instead of trying to change it, they just do a blank space.
Perfect. Yeah. We are the big breakfast of, well, we're not the big breakfast, but we try to imagine that we could be.
Yeah, I think
awesome.
Have faith.
So where do we get to? PS5.
So PS5, that same, and then we get to early 2022, and I moved from doing streams from the living room and had a wonderful studio. Actually got a studio, proper studio, which was amazing. But unfortunately, my little MacBook that I streamed off couldn't take it. And it was funny that we were doing a stream of Grounded, and that's what blew up my MacBook.
Grounded.
Yeah. So then went into the realm of need to get a proper streaming PC. But I had this strict rule that I would not play games on it. It would be purely for streaming, but I can put the Xbox and the PlayStation for it and would do that. And then very quickly got sucked into the world of PC gaming and other games that you can't play. And I've played a ton of indie games and stuff from developers.
I tell you one person who would have seen that coming.
Who's that?
Your mother.
She could. She's probably wondering why there's no.
He just wants it for streaming, does he?
Yeah, it's for work.
It's for work, is it?
Still, there's no printer. But I don't play games on the PC outside of streaming. So I either buy games. I recently bought the Demonologist, which is a horror game that came out back in March, which was good fun. Played that with an Australian streamer, friend of mine, for laughs and giggles. And I am very fortunate. I do get sent a lot of games now. So the transition of being a streamer from October 2020 to getting my first sponsorship in literally a year in 2021 to now getting multiple sponsorships, mainly down to Amy. So thank you to Amy. And getting multiple games sent to me to try out and play has become a big thing now. So it meant I get to play more and more PC games. And then obviously the wife and me went our separate ways. It's all amicable. We get on. It's so amicable. She gave me, because she's hardly played on it, and I even bought games for her and she hadn't played it, a limited edition Animal Crossing Nintendo Switch.
Nice.
So, which is pretty cool.
I was going to sounds like the sort of person you should marry, but I think we've already discovered in the
we're quite open about it. We'd been separated for a while, and then I even announced it on stream quite happily, openly. Got her blessing to say, let's do this and let's announce it. We're separated. It's funny how some people didn't even notice I wasn't wearing the wedding ring for like about 5 months, and some people have only just gone, "What you separate? What?" So it's quite funny that people who watch regularly still haven't clocked on. So obviously we did a really bad job of announcing that. And then she said, "Do you want the Switch?" Because I hardly play it. I think 2 Christmases ago I got a copy of Pikmin 3. and she just never got around to playing it. It's still shrink wrapped. So I said, tell you what, the games you don't want, I don't want. I'll flog. I'll keep it. So it was perfect timing that I got that so I could play the new Zelda game. So I now, for the especially last year, I've bounced around on PC, Series X, PS5, and Nintendo Switch games. And it's made, for me, it's a better thing because now I don't initially slag anything off on the show. I try and give everything a fair shot, unless you were Stadia. And you, Stadia, look what happened to you.
Shout out to our sponsor, Stadia.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry, X.
Are you wondering why the checks have bounced for the last 3 months?
Yeah.
Listen, it's a big check. It looks cool in the frame on the wall. That's all I say.
Cool. A charity check is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
One of those big ones.
Massive cardboard one.
Look at this. I got this from Stadia.
Terry Wogan came back from the dead to hold it with me. And the check.
Yeah.
Hey.
But it's that thing now. It has made me. I think we're doing it, especially doing a talk show, and we don't review the games. And we've always said this. We don't review the games, but we do a fun thing where I get the average score from all the different game reviewers. And we always say, you may agree with it, you may not. I am very opinionated on that show. So I will rip the mick out of things and give my opinions. But then we will state that, like, we had our guest on last week, and he's very much in the games industry. And he said, I can't be seen to be slagging things off. So we jokingly went, blah, 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 and slag stuff off. However, that is not the opinions of my guest, and blah, 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 in my opinion. But then when we mentioned Stadia, he went, well, that was crap, and everyone's talking about Stadia anyway. So it is funny how that comes around. But I do feel that having the access to all those different gaming consoles now and the PC, it does give me a fairer shout to talk about different games and open my eyes to what's out there. And I think that's just another thing, not just because of Amy doing what she does behind the scenes, but it makes me a better streamer because I can understand what people prefer and what people don't, and why people are like, PC's God tier, blah, blah, blah. But then you've got the Xbox fanboys and the PlayStation fanboys and the people who love Switch because the Switch is a family geared console, and why people love that so much.
Yeah.
I think it's now mad that I've always been those generations behind everything, but now are very much up to date. And I think as my career progresses with this, whenever they announce the next generation of stuff or whatever that may be, I will be baying for blood to get that because I want to be showcasing that for the people that support that channel. So that's where I'm at.
Nice. Well, I think that's a wonderful journey through your life there. Probably more intimate than I was expecting it to be. So I do wish you and the ex a good transition together.
Good.
It sounds like she's a good one. So that's good news.
Yeah.
And you know, I love the little stop offs. I love the trade in the schoolwork and the work for machines. I think it's something that we all tried. My parents thought I was going to be a programmer, but all I wanted to do was play on the goddamn thing. And it took me 2 subsequent sort of home computers to stamp my foot down and get a SNES, so I could actually just do what I wanted to do, which is plug something in the top and turn it on.
Yeah.
And for me, you know, gaming, especially of our vintage as well, if I may be so bold, I would say that we're lucky enough to have actually seen really every significant machine game, and we've actually been lucky enough to have been on the journey for really the tentative steps that games were taking at the time of the 2600, all the way through now to almost the multimedia machines that we've got now. You can game on them, you can stream to your friends, you can watch a TV streaming app on it, you can do pretty much everything. And now more than ever, they're very cross-generational. So it's a real long journey for people to have been on as gamers. But I also think it also gives you like a unique insight into the industry. Forgive the term, but it's not your first rodeo. You know, we've seen the magazines hype a game back in the day and it ended up being absolute nonsense. And we still see that now. So we see the nuances that it brings.
It's very funny that when you talk to certain people, they go, oh, that was the golden age of gaming. Now, you go, right, what was the golden age of gaming? So it's people when they had the Amiga, Spectrum, Amstrad, blah, blah, blah. Some people go, oh, it was the NES, the SNES, it was the N64, it was the Dreamcast, it was the Saturn, yada, yada, yada. Oh, no, it's the Xbox, it's the PlayStation. I don't necessarily, and this is going to sound weird, I have got my ties into certain eras that I'm like, yes, that was a great time. But I don't think, personally, that you can really jam-pack or pigeonhole it into one era, because every era has its ups and downs.
That's progression, isn't it? That's a natural progression.
Where we are now, and we're sitting here talking about our love of games and everything that's going on in the gaming world right now, right? And, you know, and this is going to be broadcasted everywhere, and saying what millions of other people do around the world. You couldn't do that in the 80s, right? No. But there was great stuff you could do in the 80s in the magazines and that. And there's a transition of stuff that's happened. So I don't think people should pigeonhole stuff. And yes, I feel bad for people that are like, yeah, got my PlayStation 5, I'm happy. And then when they do go to, again, shameless plug, when they go to an event like ours or any other event that's...
What's it called again? Because
it's Timeless Gaming Convention on the August 16th at Arcade Club Berry.
Do you get that?
Yeah. But, you know, there's all these other events as well. And retro's coming in a big thing. And it's funny how you go like, oh, what's retro now? Well, retro now is anything from like N64 upwards, which you kind of go, well, that's not retro, but it's classed as. And these kids are going, oh, wow, what's all this?
Yeah.
So they're now starting to get to experience what we did, but I still feel.
Well, I think we've said this on the show before. If you map the timeline of movies from the black and white ones all the way up to, let's say, the original Star Wars, which could be hailed as like a technical or extravaganza that really broke all genres down and was a runaway success in the cinemas, and then subsequent films onwards. If you map the movie timeline to the gaming timeline, we're 20 years away from Star Wars still.
Yeah.
And then just think about the growth that we've got left in the industry before that moment happens. And I'm thinking like a multi-format tentpole title that creates its own universe and story and is so compelling that it literally pulls people in and gets them queuing around the block. Yeah, well, probably queuing up their hard drives and modems in the modern era. But you know, we are so far removed from what would be considered the mainstream now compared to what the future of gaming holds. I think it's just so exciting, and I'm honoured to be even a participant in the journey, not just as a gamer, but also to be able to offer a critique on the stuff that comes out and the way things are happening in the industry. For the most part, you know, I do raise an eyebrow every now and then at subscriptions and bits and bobs, but for the most part, I think gaming's come so far and is so supplanted in the mainstream now, especially what I would call our generation. You call yourself middle-aged, I call myself 1 foot from the grave.
1
foot in the grave.
Yeah.
But it's a fascinating industry and it's a fascinating art form, and again it's works of art you get to play, and I think for that reason the stories are more compelling, the industry is more compelling. Side ramble complete, I feel. Mags, before we head into, sorry to underscore you here, but the real star of the show is Stingray, and I can't wait to see what the two mastodons make of each other when they meet mano a mano. Stripped to the waist, oiled up for a Farmerton street fight. But it's been wonderful to know more about you. It's been wonderful to have you on. Obviously, to those that are already in the Discord, you can just. This is one of the joys of it. Let's use the Star Wars connotation again. Let's say Timeless Gaming Convention is Star Wars. Imagine being able to slide into Harrison Ford's DMs.
Yeah.
This is basically what's on offer here. So Max is in the Discord. If you ever needed a reason to talk to a sexy and presumably newly single man about the way his life's, you know what? If there's blood on the dance floor, I'm having it.
Look, all offers are open. I ain't fussy. There you
go. Add Mags on Tinder. No. For me as well. Do RGT stealth account. Do him one on him as well.
Yeah.
What, another one?
Perfect. Yeah. got more stealth accounts.
I knew your face looked familiar from somewhere.
Yeah. Crime Watch.
Body of Baywatch, face of Crime Watch.
Yeah.
Okay. So I get distracted, but people can message you independently on there. You're going to share some information about Timeless Gaming Convention.
Yes, yeah.
Sharing information about your streams. Please continue to do that. Let's migrate everyone from this hokey cokey nonsense across to the main event that's Mags. Let's actually, we're here so people can understand what quality feels like, and then when they get to your channel, they're gonna instantly know exactly what that looks
and then
like.
Quickly move on to someone else who's yeah.
We're a gateway drug at the best of times.
You're a stepping stone.
So thank you very much for coming on. It's an absolute honour to be privy to some of these exclusives that you've mentioned for Timeless Gaming Convention, some of the behind-the-scenes news. I'm not talking about herself. I think that was probably, I don't know, uncalled for, really. You know, if you want this thing to do gangbuster numbers, striking us off, suborbital, immediately.
That's an honour.
It's sweeping the stage at the end of the event. Is that what you want to do then?
I feel like that would be my place in the world. Yeah. Literally.
Okay. It can be arranged.
Yeah, following you around, picking up your Chewit wrappers when you drop them, whatever it is that you're doing, I'm down for it. Thank you so much for allowing us a little insight into your world, a little bit of a story, a teaser for people, a reason to go watch your Twitch channel. I need a reminder. What is that?
So it's Middle Aged Gamer Guy UK on Twitch.
Is there a US version of you, or?
Funnily enough, there is. So,
wow!
So this is interesting, right? I wanted Middle Aged Gamer Guy on Twitch, couldn't get it because there is a guy who I think is UK based, but hasn't streamed for years, but obviously has the account name, so I can't have that site.
Do it, pay off. Reactivate the account, Mumsy.
You need to have one of them YouTube boxing matches to see who gets the name.
But,
no.
I don't feel so bad. So I stuck UK at the end of my name, which is fine. The other person doesn't stream at all. So it's kind of like there's no confusion. But what's hilarious is there is a guy over in Canada who refers to me as his clone because he wanted middle-aged gamer but couldn't have it, and he had to have middle-aged gamma. Oh. So when I raid into his streams, he's like, "Hey, it's my clone," but he's middle-aged gamma, and I'm middle-aged gamer. And like he'll come into my shows and go, "Hey, it's my clone," and we've just built this relationship over that. That's it's hilarious that. So I've just having the UK at the end. I'm happy with that, and I said it drives Amy round the bend that we can't get the whole name, but I'm happy with that. That's me.
Yeah,
it's proper underdoggy. I like it. I'm a fan of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what demographic you appeal to. Maybe middle-aged gamers. I don't even.
It's weird because again, going back to Timeless, 16th of August, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you get the idea.
Get that down.
When we did it last year, we were focusing a lot on the retro, and we thought we'd get an audience of people our own age.
Makes sense.
But we were very surprised. It was a lot of 18s to the majority was 18s to like late 20s.
Wow,
which surprised us.
Yeah, that's
a ticket, Mumsy.
Yeah, and then don't get me wrong, there was people our age there as well, but the biggest demographic was the younger people. Nice. Hence why the swap with the thing. But this is what I found interesting. So I get a good like collective of people. So I've got people who are same age as me, older than me, that watch me from all different countries, watch the games. And because we do such an eclectic amount of stuff, I think that's what pulls them in. But then we get all the kids, like there's like 15, 16-year-olds that watch, they might stream themselves, or they literally just like to watch streamers. And we've got that. And the thing is, we've managed to bring them together. And they're like, hey, this. And they've either met at OLL. We had a couple of the people who watch me that come together and never met at OLL, different age ranges. Great. And we did it last year at the show, and we've done it at other shows. We always try and make a trek to EGX, and we get a load of us at EGX, and it's very varying ages. But they all get on like house on fire. And I think that's great. And that's what gaming should be about.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
You're the glue that bonds all these elements together.
I am the Pritt stick that that keeps it together for a certain amount of time. But then if people decide they want to fall off the wall, that's fine.
I don't know what disappoints me more, the fact that I haven't aligned myself to Prittstick as a brand or as a sort of describer of me as a person yet. I feel like I've let myself down. You've nailed it. You are like I say, people, if you want to go where the going is good, you get on Middle Age Gamer Guy UK. Don't make the mistake of Follow the Dead Guy or Gamma, right? He's basically Lidl's version of Middle Age Gamer UK. He's not quite. He's got some of the things,
but at a different level. Yeah.
Do you know what? I've got splinters in my backside right now. He ain't even on the same level. If he's your clone, he was made out of, I don't know, the bits you chose not to include.
Yeah, but, as I say, when you meet me in real life and everyone goes, you're a lot shorter, it shows you that my DNA was pretty poor, wasn't it? So, God help him.
Is this like twins?
Yeah. So actually, he's the Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm the Danny DeVito. So,
yeah, but Danny DeVito's the best thing about that film.
Well, yeah, he's got the gift of the gab, and I think that's what I got. So I'm all right with that.
Perfect. Well, seamless links aside, the man who used to bring us our movies as a kid, pirate movies, was a guy named Stingray. Now he's a bit of an enigma, really. He appears in different ways to different people. He appears in different ways to different people at different times. He's never the same for me, week in, week out. RGT's seen some very interesting things, normally wearing Crocs, bizarrely, but I'm excited to see how you see him. He's revving at the bottom of the drive. It's time for a peek in what we affectionately call Stingray's boot. What's nestled between some counterfeit nappies and a dodgy copy of Battlefriend all this week. These are the new release highlights for the week, May 22nd to May 28th, 2023. Listeners, these are out in digital or physical, or will be by the time this podcast is in your feed, but could be region dependent. Spring stop, wow, whoa. The dust has settled and the smoke has cleared. And stepping out of the Nissan Bluebird this week, I see a man. Calls himself Middle-Age Gamma. Okay. He's wearing Crocs made out of maple syrup. He's wearing trousers made of bacon. And he's wearing a T-shirt that says he's Canada's finest. His hair is fashioned out of a nesting starling's nest, of which there are a couple of eggs in there. I don't know what's going on, but strangely, his hairdo looks like my crotch. His son Wayne,
PG rating gone.
Yeah, his son Wayne has tumbled out the back of the Bluebird as middle-aged gamer guy, but very mysteriously, he doesn't really exist. He's just static. I can't quite work out what he is. He's there. I think he claimed the name, but he doesn't know what to do with it.
Is he shorter in real life as well?
He is. He's 3 foot tall, maximum height in his original format. He's the guy that never ages, is Wayne. So that's how I see him. Let's build the anticipation. RGT, how are you seeing the Ray this week? How's he presented himself to you?
Well, I think Rain?
Who's Rain?
Ray and Wayne. I don't think they got the correct memos this week because, as always, Ray's always on topic with what I've been playing. He's come out perfectly like a cell-shaded Link.
Oh.
His hair, because he already has a mullet, he's got the little bits of plaits in, just like Link's hair in Tears of the Kingdom. The problem is Wayne is dressed in a very shoddily put together cardboard BD1. So they've obviously got confused with what game I've been playing this week. I mean, it's quite an appalling job. It's like he's had to go at Blue Peter and really messed up. I mean, it looks terrible. He's even trying to make the noises and he's not. Yeah. But for Ray himself, he does look absolutely outstanding as Link. And he's a proud man of it as well. He's even got the glowing arm.
Are you seeing the Bluebird as a load of like bits of wood nailed together with some wheels on, powered by a fan?
Exactly how I'm seeing it, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, we've built the anticipation up. Mags, how are you seeing the legend of the show, Stingray?
So, seeing that you're saying his name's Stingray, and the fact that he's got a bluebird, I immediately, as he stepped out, there was these amazing kind of wooden crosses with strings coming down, and being controlled by some weird hands that you can only make because they're coming out of the clouds, right? So there's obviously someone behind Stingray, clearly.
Wow, this is bold character development for the character.
This is brilliant.
But at the same time, he does have a little white goat next to him. and
That's Wade.
Wade's a goat. Beautiful. Wade is a goat. Wade's the goat.
There's more. There's more. What else, man?
And dressed in whatever is anyone's golden era of gaming, has some 90s sunglasses on.
What's a goat?
About Liam Gallagher sunglasses, the round ones, right? The red ones. But then has some terrible 80s Bermuda shorts.
Fat Willies.
Right, yeah. Mixed with a
goat is Fat Willie's Bermuda shorts.
Denim jackets. And that, my friends, is what I am seeing right now.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Bada Bingster, we need a t-shirt.
Another t-shirt, Bada Bingster.
Oh,
that is beautiful.
You said be creative, so there you go. So
that's perfect. Dear. Wayne's a goat. I love it. Okay.
Right. Professional. Don't, because you set me off.
He's got Fat Willies.
And a denim jacket.
Yeah.
Really tight around his little white furry body.
And the way the weather's picking up, he's going to be sweating.
a mildly damp goat.
Oh, dear. Oh, right, get it together. Come on.
Calm down, Ray.
Right.
All right, so let's have a look in the boot. First game I'm going to pull out. It's Miasma Chronicles on the PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. Comes out May 23rd from the creators of Mutant Year Zero. Road to Eden comes a beautifully crafted tactical adventure you won't forget. Embark on a quest across the post-apocalyptic wasteland torn apart by a savage force known only as the Miasma.
Different one. Planet of Lana, PC, Xbox Series of Consoles, and Xbox One, May 23rd. A young girl and a loyal friend embark on a rescue mission for a colourful world full of cold machines and unfamiliar creatures. Planet of Lana is a cinematic puzzle adventure framed by epic sci-fi saga that stretches across centuries and galaxies.
This next one, Mags, if you could read this. By the way, this
is going to be your mummy.
This is my mummy. I'm excited for this. Oh, yeah, I'm excited for this.
Because I'm going to say I'm very excited for Planet of Lana, and I didn't realise it was dropping this week.
Do you know, the show's done something. For the first time in its life, Mags, we've done something. We've provided a service to somebody.
It's great.
Then again, saying that, community corrections, it probably isn't.
Yeah.
We've had a history of that, so
Hey, don't worry. Things happen. Yeah. Games get moved. Just blame
it. It's probably 2024, I expect.
Normally, if we mention it, it's going to get delayed.
Yeah, look, blame it on the devs. It's fine. You just go blame it on the devs. We were told this. Blame it on them. That's fine.
Yeah.
So, this next one is actually, again, I know if you're looking forward to this, George, we've got Star Trek Resurgence, which is out on PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on the 23rd of May. Star Trek Resurgence is a narrative adventure game featuring dialogue choices, relationship building, and exploration. Alongside dialogue-driven role-playing and rich branching storylines, you will also engage with the Star Trek universe in a variety of other gameplay styles, including shuttle piloting, phaser fights, tricorder scanning, stealth, and micro gameplay mechanics. And if I'm not mistaken, this is made by a number of people that used to work for Telltale.
The collections of Telltale, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Really good.
I'm excited
for this.
Could
be by Mummy, I think.
Get on board.
That's my Mummy, I think.
Beam aboard to the rec room. let's go to 10 forward and have a little bit of a drinky-drinksy with Whoopi Goldberg. Dark Quest 3, next out the boot. Thank you, Ray. Should I call you middle-aged Gamma? Absolute. Got covered in bacon grease, Dark Quest 3. Comes out on the PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, May 24th. I like the sound of this. I've been looking for something a bit like this. A roguelike tabletop that mixes card-based exploration with turn-based combat. Create your party, draw adventure cards, roll dice, and fight monsters to defeat the sorcerer. And is magic.
Wow, that sounds quite a lot of game in there.
It sounds like Hero Quest, but you can't be bothered to get the board out.
Hero Quest, yeah.
Love Hero Quest.
They've done a sort of a renewed version of that.
Yeah, they repackaged it, didn't they? Yeah.
And I just started going on a side set. I said, I've still got my original Hero Quests, and someone said, it's really good. They brought out the new one, but then someone said that there's something not quite authentic enough. It's slightly been made differently. So, and for the fact it's 90 quid is a bit of a
yeah. I think they streamed it down a bit, and they slimlined it a bit from the original, which made it a bit of a subpar experience, I think.
Well, what they need, I don't know if they've brought this out, but if they brought out Space Crusade, that would be a killer move as well. Yeah, because the Hero Quest has got the expansion pack. Let me go full nerd. You can get the expansion packs for it, which are quite elusive and very hard to find for the original Hero Quest. So you could bolster your OG one up if you wanted to with this new version. Yeah. If you're that into Hero Quest, no doubt you could probably go online and print off the quest book and make it up as you go along anyway. It'd be fine. Tell me about Cassette Beasts.
Cassette Beasts, Xbox One, Switch, May 25th. Collects awesome monsters to use during turn-based battles in this open-world RPG. Combine any two monsters' forms using Cassette Beasts' fusion system to create unique and powerful new ones. That's quite a different take on it.
Sounds quite cool. First of all, I thought it was going to be something that popped out of Soundwave's chest. Then I find out there's more to it. Yeah. Brilliant. Max, what have you got for us? Okay. Don't let Ray touch you, though. Whatever you do, just don't look him in the eye either. Because
never look him in the eye.
I'm just staring at the goat instead.
No, don't. He's got his dad's eyes.
Oh, I might get suddenly yeeted across the room. Okay. Now, gazing into the distance, luckily I can still see that Do Not Feed the Monkeys 2099 is out on PC and Switch on May the 25th. A digital voyeur simulator, where you watch strangers through surveillance cameras, invade their privacy and witness their most intimate moments, but don't interact with the subjects because anything could happen if you dare feed the monkeys.
Sounds like Night Trap, but with monkeys.
Yeah.
It sounds quite cool. Like the sound of this.
Here's the name that I ask Mumsy to say to me every night as she strokes my hair as I drift into unconsciousness. It's Hello Good Boy, PC and Switch, May 25th. A lost soul and his dog set on an otherworldly trek through the afterlife in this wholesome, non-linear adventure game. Pass into the world beyond, perform acts of kindness for other souls, and then mistakes from a forgotten past life, all with a very good boy by your side.
Mm-hmm. Lord of the Rings, Gollum, PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, May 25th. Plays Gollum on his quest to retrieve his precious. You will need to climb the mountains of Mordor, sneak round Mirkwood, and make difficult choices. Who will gain the upper hand, the cunning Gollum or the innocent Smeagol?
Now, I don't know what to make of that, but obviously we have another co-host on the show called Seb. I think he played this over in America, and yes, well, we'll see. I feel like this might be
one of them you just don't know.
I feel this might be a bit of a dead dog, but we'll see.
The hype was big round it, but then that's really gone sort of quietly under the radar.
What I would say is the developers of Lord of the Rings Gollum just jumped for joy as I said it looks like it's not going to be very good, because that's normally a signpost for a game to get a 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Well, considering how this year's gone with all the things I thought were going to be rubbish and they ended up being better.
Yeah.
It could be good. I'm going to say this. We were due to play this. It was due to come out New Year's Eve, which is really bizarre. And we were due to get sent a copy. and then nothing happened, and we didn't hear anything, and nobody knew anything, and then it took 2 months for them to say, "Oh, by the way, we've delayed it," and you're like, "Oh, have you? Didn't notice," because
I find it strange. Like a lot of games that are mysterious about their release dates end up getting pigeonholed by stockists as being the 31st of December. They kick the problem down the road.
Yeah, and
I don't know why the studio doesn't say, "Wait, actually, who brings the game out on
yeah, because no one's gonna. There was two games that were due to come out, and again, we're going off on track during that Christmas period. And the weird thing was, one of them was the Lord of the Rings game, and the other was the Ubisoft Avatar game. It was supposed to be out literally, I think, Christmas Eve. What? Why would you bring it out Christmas Eve? You can't physically get a copy unless it's a pre-order.
Oh, no.
Out to the shops to buy it, so it's going to tank in its first week of sales. I mean, it's been a pushback for an indefinitely now. Nobody knows when that. I just find it weird. But again, I'll give it benefit of doubt. I just don't. This comes out and it's all right, and I would give this a try. I would give it a try. Just what it's like.
Okay, well, before Ray slips away back wherever he came from, we have to pick a retro, it can be any movie, to be fair, out of his boot. Even if it's a new one, don't worry, Ray's got a cam copy of it, so you're all good.
Now, on the new ones, to bear in mind with Stingray's modern versions of the new films, you will be watching it in literally pixelated screen, and you will see someone get up and go to the toilet halfway through because Wayne's recorded it in the cinema on his 1990 JVC camcorder.
Wearing a stovepipe hat, just because he's only a small guy, he has to lift the camera up with his stovepipe hat. So yeah. He's the one in Farmerton Cinema Multiplex. You always know when Wayne's about because you see the hat before you see the legs. It's unbelievable. Bizarre. I'm going to pick a dodgy copy of Parks and Rec, the box set. I've recently got into this courtesy of the Ray, and I want to see it finished. It's actually got better as I've gone along. I don't know if I've got more in the characters or they can reference jokes from maybe 2 seasons ago. I do like that. Reward the long-term listener. No, I'm not listening to Parks and Rec. I'm watching it. RGT, what have you pulled out of the boot for your televisual pleasure?
I'm going to go with one of Mrs. RGT's favourite ever films. So we can grab a gin and tonic, box of popcorn, and we're going to watch Labyrinth.
Hour of the Babe. Max, what have you... I mean, be careful. There's all sorts in there. What are you pulling out?
I'm going to go with the theme that something surprised me because it wasn't what you thought it was going to be. Firm favourite for me is From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, what a movie.
I've watched that again recently and it's still just as fun.
Two movies in one.
Yeah, it is. And it's just never knew. And I remember taking it round on VHS to a group of friends saying, you need to watch this. And not being funny. And an evening on a Saturday night with a load of mates, they're watching this going, oh, this first half's boring. They thought it was going to be Tarantino Bloodfest.
Yeah.
I was like, stick with it. Stick with it. Yeah. And one of the friends actually left. Because I didn't.
Oh, no.
And then the rest of them watched it and loved it. And then they ended up ringing their mate and going, sucks to be you. And I wouldn't allow him to watch it after that. I was like...
Yep, that's your fault.
Yeah. To this day, I don't know whether he ever watched it. I don't know. He's not my friend anymore, so I don't care.
He's like the world's biggest Dusk Till Dawn fan. That's
why he's not your friend.
Life. Yeah.
You walk out halfway through Dusk Till Dawn, you're not welcome here anymore. Goodbye.
The question I have for you, though, is have you seen 2 and 3?
Yes, and I've watched all 3 series of the TV series as well.
Oh, my, you're all in.
And I played the very shocking PC computer game, which was weird because it was a sequel to the film, but it's set on a cruise liner, which makes no sense.
They'd obviously been making another game at the time that they then lost the license for. Yeah,
I think that was the case. So the TV series, I think, is excellent because it's obviously done by Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
It has ups and downs, and do stick with it because I think the first series is basically a reimagining of the whole of the first film. So they stretch it over a number of episodes, but they add more into it, which is great. Second series is a bit Third series is excellent, but then it got cancelled, which was annoying. The films, second film is not great, but it has its laughs, and it's got Robert Patrick, bless him, in it. And it's okay. It's very loosely tied to the film. And the third one is great if you really want to learn how it started, but is not particularly a great film. But if you like the lore and you like the stuff of it, stick with them. They're all right. They are what they are. They were straight
worth a watch.
Video. Yeah.
I got them as a box set from a charity, I should say Stingray, recently. And first one I was like, that's what I remember, but is 2 and 3, I'm not really sure. Yeah. And they weren't awful, but there were a couple of times where I did question my life choices.
It's bad because the second one's got such a great cast, but the film plot is just shocking.
Yeah.
And then the third film doesn't really have any that well-known actors. It's got a few, but I think the story for that is a lot better because it sets the whole thing up.
Agreed.
Things and roundabouts.
Okay. Well, with that, you look around and where Ray was, Ray is no more. But down on the floor is what looks like a little bit of very well-cooked bacon rind, dribbled in what looks like, but doesn't taste like maple syrup. I guess we'll have to find out next week what that's all about. Everyone who knows the way that the show goes knows that when the Ray's gone, the only thing left for me to say is, guys, what are you hoping to play? Mags, what are you hoping to play next week?
What am I hoping to play next week? I think now you've mentioned that Planet Alana's out. If that is, I'm going to love that. I played the demo of that last autumn.
How can you have a T-shirt, middle-aged gamer?
Yeah.
UK, T-shirts available. Get yourself one. You're not a real gamer unless you're wearing one of these. It's in a Star Trek font.
Is it?
It is. It's in Star Trek, the original series font.
Nice.
And you're leaving Resurgence in the boot. I don't...
No, do you know what it is? I will definitely get round to playing Resurgence. I play all the Telltale and the Telltale style offshoots because obviously they've got that other one coming from the reformed Telltale, that other game on another space property. So I'm not going to, mention that one. But I will get. But I think for me, because I actually got hands on that demo and played it. And then we touted this for like being a really good game of the year, one to look out for. And then again, seamlessly, there's been no mention of it actually coming out. I think because I'm quite surprised that that's out, I want to get on that first. But I definitely will give Star Trek a whirl. So those two are what am I... Out of all those were the two I would 100% play no matter what. And then maybe behind Lord of the Rings Gollum is like the third.
Okay. All right. RGT, what are you hoping to play?
Be a bit more postal on Dreamcast. I've also got, the name escapes me now, the other Wave Game Studios on Dreamcast, these side-scroll and beat 'em up, Shadow
Warriors.
Shadow Warriors. Yeah. So I've got that. I'm going to have a go at that this week. But pretty much, I mean, I'll probably dip in and out of Jedi Survivor, but it's going to be Zelda this week for me. It's got a 6 in me, so I'm going to be putting some serious hours into that. So I think that'll be pretty much me this week. What about you?
Okay. I think I'm going to, on completion of this, throw down hard and get that last boss finished on Jedi Survivor. No doubt more hours than I should do on Bomber Crew. Even when it gives you the extra mission to advance, I go back and do some of the other ones just to try and level my guys up, and I don't want it to end.
Is this another Little Big Workshop?
A Little Big Workshop.
This is another one, isn't it? This is another
that game.
This is Little Big Workshop all over again.
It is that. It's you can just sort of let him run, but you do need to get involved. It's very, very, very my kind of thing. So a bit of that. A bit of Madden 23. I've downloaded that recently because it was on a good price on the store and I had loads of points accumulated that I could cash in to buy that. I know, all these good English sports, and I don't even like one of them. I like his American sports. There'll be some MLB action. And then basically just clearing down the decks. There's a few things I need to finish off. Yakuza 6, at the very end game of that, need to finish that, and some other bits and bobs. So I'm happy. I got gains. And that's, with that all said and done, before we launch into the immortal post-amble, I must just say once again, Mags, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mags.
For getting up. You could have had a relaxing morning and a bloody good pub lunch, right? with your new prospective beau, whoever it is you choose to pull down from the tree of that beautiful fruit, that's no doubt surrounding you in an orchard-like fashion.
Or whoever stalks me from the DMs from your Discord, I'm easygoing.
Changing username right now.
Instead, you came here and talked about a goat in a denim coat.
Yeah,
I mean, Willie shorts on.
As your day goes, one would imagine it's probably not been the best start. So I wish you an absolutely cracking afternoon. Do your best via the medium of alcohol to scrub any memory of this whatsoever. Counsellor's number available on Discord for PTSD counselling should you need it. I would imagine that you will. And thank you once again. Now, I struggle to retain information, but if you've listened this far, it would be what I would call a criminal act not to ask Mags one more time to pump everything, no, not like that, Mags. Put the goat down.
Hang on. Right, mate. I'm like, what? Sorry, hang on. Put the goat down.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I'll just put them down.
Okay. And then pump everything else content-wise that you possibly can, as much as you can, just to enable everyone who's had the patience to listen this far, has been that entwined into your story, the journey that you've been on, personally and reflectively, the story of the Timeless Gaming Convention. Just let them know the reward where they can go to find all this content.
Okay, so if you want to go to Timeless Gaming Convention, let's face it, who wouldn't? Go check out the website, www.timelessgaming.co.uk for your tickets and more information. 16th of August, Arcade Club, Bury. It's going to be amazing. Go check it out. We'd like to meet you. If you send me DMs in Discord, it'd be lovely to meet people in person. Can't wait. If you want to check out my show on Tuesday nights, Tuesday Night Gaming Chat, 9 p.m. on Twitch, Middle Age Gamer Guy UK on Twitch. But I also stream Monday to Thursday / Monday to Friday, depending on my week, at 9 o'clock. I'm always on 9 till midnight. That's my thing. And you can check it out then. And you can find me on all good social media platforms, as always. Facebook, Insta, Twitter, you name it. I am there. And you can stalk me to your heart's content, because I am that desperate for love and affection that I'll take any offers I can get. There you go.
Wow. A man of not only this class and beautifulness, drumming himself down like this. I tell you what, you sell yourself short. Get Amy on the phone. Tell her to ramp this up a little bit. You undersell yourself like a Sainsbury's own brand meringue. I actually think you're worthy of an official brand name now. That's how good you are. So all joking aside, thank you so much for your time. And it's been really wonderful.
Brilliant.
If there's nothing more to add, hopefully people have flocked to your outlets like starving dogs at the shake of a tin of pedigree chum. They'll come a running. And I think that should see us out the door. That's all we have time for this week. Listeners, as always, thank you for your time. I look forward to the pleasure of speaking to you again next week. Until then, happy gaming. And remember, there's nothing wrong with being given the unofficial controller. It's what you do with it that counts. See you guys.
Good night, chaps.
Bye.